the game away, his third time this season recording triple. He ended the day with 94 yards on 16 carries plus 3 catches for 39 yards. Despite the loss, Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert finished 37 of 55 for career high 420 yards. Jacksonville now with 2 straight weeks with losses, falling to the Rams 35-7. LA dominated the majority of the game despite not having Puka Nacua for the matchup. Travis Hunter scoring the lone TD off of a 34-yard pass from Trevor Lawrence late in the game, Hunter's first score in the NFL. Get all of the latest Browns content filtered right to your phone this offseason by following the Browns playlist and 92.3 The Fan on the Odyssey app. Headline Sports News continues every 20 minutes on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Mackenzie Flume.
I don't think there's much of a trade market out there for him. Quite honestly, I think the idea that was floated around last week when we didn't know whether or not he was going to be the number 2, they should march in there and ask for a trade. It's categorically some of the dumbest things I've ever heard. Look, he's a 5th-round pick, all right? And, I don't know how many times we have to go through that, but, those guys, by definition, are developmental players. So why is it, out of the realm of possibility, the best thing for Shedeur Sanders personally is to have that redshirt year and have a chance to learn?
Listen for the MMQB's Albert Breer, Tuesdays at 5:20 on Cleveland's Sports Radio, 92.3 The Fan. The Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima.
Gabriel on first down will give to Judkins, running up the middle. Big hole 40. He's at the 35. He's at the 30. It's a foot race 20, 15, far sideline. Touchdown! Quinshon Judkins, 46 yards to the house. Taken to the 8 to the 20 to the 25 to the 30. Ball's out! Ball's out and the Browns have it! Rayshon Jenkins recovers it, and the Browns have it at the Miami 46. From the 3-yard line, Judkins waits for it. He bobbles the snap. He picks it up. Now he goes forward. He spins. He's in! Touchdown! Judkins! Tua from the pistol throws to the outside. Blasted. Picked off. Campbell down the sideline. He's at the 10, the 5. Touchdown! Tua from his end zone. Here's the blitz from Delpit. He gets to him. It's picked off. Jenkins at the 5. Tackled at the 2. Judkins running up the middle. Judkins cuts right. Touchdown. Touchdown Browns. Quinshon is in again. His 3rd score of the day. And now Dillon Gabriel will take a knee. Feels good, doesn't it? Browns back in the win column for the first time since week 3. Browns beat the Dolphins 31-6.
This is Cleveland's Sports Radio, 92.3 The Fan.
Audio courtesy of the UH Browns Radio Network, your Cleveland Browns. And the wind and the rain wasn't that cold, but it got cold because of the rain. They get a beat down of the Dolphins 31-6. I'm not, listen, I'll play schedule game at 6:20.
Is he not doing it?
Oh. It doesn't sound like he's doing it.
Is he not doing it? What's he putting it on for?
You definitely got to do it today.
Come on and do it.
Super Browns! Yeah! Remember how it felt? Oh, I was going to pass out there for a second.
Hold on. Red right now.
Grant Delpit forgot what it felt like. Ken Carman forgot what it felt like.
I forgot what it was like to yell at and have my face flushed. Hold on, man. I'm having a buzz here.
See, we knew one thing was going to be true no matter what, was that Ken was going to be red-faced this morning.
That's true.
Here I am. It's a good day. Listen, I'll play schedule game 6:20. I don't care. I had some weird opinions on the internet. That's the internet. I don't think that's real. Real life is me, you, Owen, Mitch to a certain extent. All of us together. The Browns winning. A fantastic day. I barely had to take any notes. I ended notes. There's barely anything there to write because I went to go in the second half, and when I went to start writing them, and when you get a pick six like that, I went, oh boy, this is probably going to get real bad for the Fish real soon. And I was getting texts from people in the stadium because I wanted to see I just wanted to see a common sense. And I know, Kenny, you're such a footy-dooty and you're conservative when it comes to offense. I wanted to see a common sense approach to this game. The wind, earlier in the week, people thought it was going to be 60 miles an hour at times. It was about 40. with some of the gusts, 35 somewhere in there. They were able to knock some field goals through.
It wasn't as bad as some of the projections that came out earlier in the week, right? From the National Weather Service. They're talking about 70-mile-an-hour wind gales.
It started to get pretty crazy with some of the stuff in the middle of the week. But no, I agree with you. I thought it was fine.
Well, on TV,
except for the rain.
On TV, you can't even see the rain. Most of it, you're like, oh, it just looks like a normal day.
Which I like when they got to do it now because the cameras are so good. If you notice, you got to show a camera angle, the lights, and you see it coming down through the lights, and that's how you know it's you see it dark and you assume, and then you're like, oh, okay, I can see it without it's really raining there. The rain yesterday, it played a factor in it. The defense played a factor in it. The Browns should have won this football game. They did win this football game. They won this game going away. It was a dominating performance. It made Mike McDaniel look feckless. I think they made the Dolphins quit on Tua Tagovailoa.
I can't believe he hasn't been fired yet.
Tua Tagovailoa or Mike McDaniel?
Both of them. I thought for sure last night, going into the middle of the night, I thought there was going to be a message that he had gotten canned.
Well, it's not like college. You meet, it's quieter. There's not as many players to it, and when you get boards of regents involved and things like that, they talk to everybody, and it gets out on a Sunday morning, like when Billy Napier got fired yesterday. But this, who knows? Because the Brian Schottenheimer thing, not Schottenheimer, Brian Callahan thing happened. Middle of the day on Monday, last Monday? So we might find out later today, middle of the day, here on a Monday. Dolphins may move on from him. I'm not sure. It was a cutthroat performance by the Browns defense. I thought it was a common sense performance by the Browns offense. It brought me spirit. It brought me heart. I was happy to see it play out the way it did. I had some people, my buddies in the stands who went to the game, they were kind of disagreeing with me on some of the thoughts in the second half, but we got 4 hours to break that down. I was just happy, hey, you had this turmoil that happened throughout the week. You had Myles talk on Friday, which it's once you win, the Myles conversation, it doesn't die, but it does take a back seat. Because on Friday, when he said what he said, it was hey, this is got to be talked about on Monday, especially, good God, if they lose. But you win, the defense looks good, he looks good.
Kenny, I hadn't heard the press conference. I wasn't able to catch it live on Friday. But I went
I was there with bells on.
Well, I went to social media and people said, oh, that's it. He just doomed Stefanski. That's it for Stefanski. It's over. They're not going to play for him. And then they come out and they play for him.
Yeah, well, that's kind of the thing I got to ask. Did he save the locker room there? Did the win save the locker room? Because the Dolphins are a mess. They are a mess. And you get to a point in the season where this is why people were saying, man, this is a loser leaves town match here, where you go, this whole thing, at the end of a game like that, that's why I wouldn't be surprised if McDaniel was fired today, because at the end of a game like that, you go, this must end. Whatever this is, this has to end. We got to put a new tire on this thing to get to the end of the season and just move on with different characters to this and try to trudge forward. If the Browns would have been on the other end of 31-6, I know you said I'd be red-faced. I don't know if I'd be red-faced. I'd just be ready for the axe to fall. I'd just be ready for it. Because that is a demoralizing performance. Tua is their franchise quarterback. He ended up with 100 yards in this game. Devon Achane was great with the 2 long runs. Didn't matter. 31-6. Tyson Campbell shows up. Boy, by the way,
tracked him down.
Can I say he ran him? First off, he ran him down. Then he gets the pick 6. Do I dare say laser eyes for Andrew?
Yeah, right now it's looking great.
Because there were a couple of people going, Greg Newsome ain't running him down. I go, nope, not that guy. That guy's way too fast. I don't care about the weather. Tyson Campbell can fly, and then he comes up with the tip ball and the pick 6. I thought it was fantastic. Everybody thought it was fantastic, for crying out loud. It was just a great defensive performance to put Tua in shambles, and it was great to see you guys celebrating. The Browns fans as well, celebrating in the stands. It was a therapeutic afternoon.
Yeah, I was wondering about the fans that actually made it to that game, because we were talking about how low the ticket prices were, and I think, Owen, you saw it was down to... I had posted one screenshot before fees. It said $7. You said it was down to $6.
I saw $6 after fees within...
Oh, after fees.
Within an hour of the game, yes. When the weather was at its worst.
And I couldn't believe, like, CBS normally NFL's partners don't like to show empty stands, and yet they were coming out of the breaks showing the entire stadium looking empty. They're showing Aditi, so she's wearing the poncho, trying to explain how rough it was, even though it didn't get as bad as we may have thought. And all I kept thinking was, man, the fans that were actually at that game, I feel like I know they don't do this in the NFL, but if this were like the minors, they would get comped a game for going to that game. Like, holy cow, the fans that actually went to that. And I had some fans tweeting saying, you know what, Anthony, I go because I embrace the chaos. You know, I had a few people saying they love these types of games because it's so crazy. The real fans are actually there. So that got me thinking, like, the fans that actually went to that game, do they get to put that on their resume, their fan resume, when they call into the shows? Like, I've been a season ticket holder for 50 years. Like, I went to the Tua game.
Well, I think that I wanted to know from people, if when you went to the game. Well, first off, I didn't understand. We do the pregame show from the Cardiac Club. It's right at the top of the dog pound, and you could see people coming in. I forget which gate it's lettered or numbered or whatever. You could see people coming in, and me and Gerard were standing there going, "Why don't they have jackets on or anything?" Like, there were a lot of just T-shirts, a lot of just Browns jerseys, and that's it. I'm like, did nobody pay attention to the weather? It's going to rain. I don't know how windy it was, because in the morning it was really windy. You could see the field goal posts moving around and stuff. I go, boy, this is going to be... And then it kind of died down. But it was raining, and I saw a bunch of people with ponchos. I go, did you buy the ponchos at the stadium? Did you just decide to hell with it? You're going to buy a poncho at the stadium? Those things got to be $12. And I did. I was wondering about that. But I think you're right. I think that some people, especially now with the stadium coming around in the next 4 years or so, I think that you might find some folks who go, you know what, I'm going to go see how it used to be so I can tell the tale.
Yeah, because you're not going to be able to do that.
And because the ticket was so cheap, I mean, some people were finding, you said $6 tickets up there in the upper deck. Like, yeah, maybe you go ahead and you do it just to see what it's like. Or there's a lot of people I know that are season ticket holders that are going, you know what, I might as well just go. Take the kids. Let's just go to the game. Let's see where it is. Let's go watch it. It'll be fun. I know it'll be rain. It's a story we can tell. Who knows what's going to happen if they lose? We can say we saw the last game with Kevin. I mean, who knows?
Yeah, right.
There was a lot of people saying a lot of different things about going into yesterday's game.
We were thinking whether it could be on the table. I was just thinking the fans that went to that game, those are the real fans. Those are the absolute real fans, not the not the country club crowd. Granted, if you're in the club section, you can watch on the TVs of the club.
Yeah,
can't say I haven't done that before.
Oh, no, I know you.
Or if you're in the suites,
that's the way you're going to do it.
But those fans, they seem to relish every moment, and CBS was capturing all of them throughout the game. Like they had cameras fixated on those fans.
So if you went to the game yesterday, do you consider yourself in a different class of fan? I think they are. I think you do. Like, we got guys like Demos and Shaker who they want to brag. They want to brag that
because all this goes out the window once you have the dome. All of it goes out the window. No one's ever going to talk. We're thinking about it. We're never going to have tweets middle of the week about the weather. Like, it will be so crazy that and really, if you think about it, to me, what led to the demise of the thought of Cleveland outdoor football was not the snow games, because people seem to like the snow games. It's the fact that you would get games like yesterday. Mm-hmm. That you would, even though it wasn't as bad as we necessarily thought it would be, but I think fans, and look at how few fans showed, right? Like, it just, I think that the Haslams over time, that led to them saying we're never going to maximize our venture here playing outdoor football.
Yesterday's score also makes it not remember there was that bad run in 2020 where it was like 10-7, 13-6.
And you had 3 straight weeks of it.
And it was horrible.
3 out of 4.
Weather,
3 out of 4, and then you had the bye week, and the bye week was beautiful. I did the leaves that day. I remember because I made Mount Carman there with the leaves right there at the edge, because they come and they get the leaves. Either way, that's a weird thing to remember, but there we are. I think that I kind of want to find. Don't do it, but I would be kind of interested to see what the Lions' attendance was when they were bad, like when they were really bad. And it goes, because I'm thinking, man, if they were 5-1 going into that game, there's going to be a lot of people in that stadium. But they're 1-5 going to that game. They're playing a dog at 1-5. I don't know how many people are going with the weather. If they were 5-1, contending football matters. But when you're indoors, maybe there's I'm sure there's a bunch of Lions fans who are just going to go, when they were bad, they're good now. But when they were bad, just going, hey, we're going to go to the stadium, at least you'll be comfortable and you get to see the game, that's fine. So it's almost saved for you for that. But I think that a fan who went to the game yesterday, there is a thing where you can brag, just like a season ticket holder calls in and says, guys, I've been a season ticket holder since 1976, I think there's something where I was at this game. I was at the Bills snow game. I was at the Steelers snow game. I was at the rain games. I was at this game. Even at 1-5, I was at this game. I think that there is a brag to it. But I think there's a brag to it that the Browns actually got themselves a win yesterday, and I thought they looked pretty good doing it. We'll talk about the offense, I'm sure. 216-474-0092. I want to hear from folks because a win like that and where you look for the future, it starts to play head games with you. Because right now, a lot of people at 2-5 are starting to play schedule game. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, take us with you to work on the absolutely free Odyssey app.
Anthony Lima,
92.3 The Fan.
I'm always going to tell her how it is. I mean, that's just my nature. I'm going to shoot you straight, and I have no problem saying what I say to them up here and vice versa. Now, I'm not trying to say anything to disparage anybody or try to get anybody either removed from their position or anything like that. And I want everybody here to be a benefactor to our success. It all came together today, and I hope we continue to rally around everything that we've been talking about and I've been talking about.
Myles in the postgame, what a difference a win makes. Because Friday it didn't seem to be very glowing, didn't seem to be very good. We'll talk about Myles' comments coming up here in a bit.
What a difference for the defense being able to actually play with a lead.
Yeah.
It just transforms everything they are. It allows them to, all of a sudden, Grant Delpit is blitzing. They never really do a lot of that.
Whereas, I saw, gosh, you're right about that. Grant Delpit flying in there in that moment. That was a big moment there. That caused the Rayshon Jenkins interception. Everything there was fantastic in that play. Jim Schwartz just got to be in his bag and do exactly what he wanted to do in the second half, and it made it that much more fun to watch.
Yeah, they couldn't do that stuff against, Detroit. They couldn't do that stuff against Pittsburgh. To at some degree, maybe Minnesota, but they couldn't get away with it. With Tua, they knew they could get away with it,
so
especially in those conditions.
Your mind starts playing tricks on you. 216-474-0092. I have the notes right in front of me. And I wrote down the records of the teams that they play coming up. You're 2-5. You're 2-5. Let me go. Oh my God! Can we go through the standings real quick? This turns into a bit of a 7.
Are you asking about whether they're in the hunt?
All right, you're 2-5 right now. You're 12th. Ahead of you, you have the Raiders, the Texans, the Bengals, the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs might be a team that's going to hit the gas here in a second. All right. Jacksonville has fallen. They're 2-3, or the 4-3. They've lost 2 in a row, and they looked uncompetitive against the Rams over in London yesterday. But Travis Hunter got a touchdown, and everybody's excited about that. Good for him. All right, this is what I'm going to lead you to a place here, and I want to know: do you start to think about whether or not they can make a run? You got the Patriots coming up on the road. Patriots are a hot football team. I think they've won 3 in a row.
See, we're 7-point dogs.
We are 7-point dogs. They're 5-2. If you get that game, if you find a way to win that game, if you put, as the kids like to say, if you put Drake May in hell and you get to 3-5, are we having a different conversation? Because I just want to look. Now, you said you were getting the responses, so here we go. At New York, the Jets, they're 0-7.
They're the worst team. It's them and
without a doubt.
And they beat. Right, and Miami beat them.
They had Terod Taylor out there yesterday.
Miami beat them.
Yes. Baltimore's 1-5, but that's with an asterisk. 2-5, the Raiders. They're a mess. 49ers are 6-2. That's a good football team. Even with the injuries, they're good. I think they definitely want to get Brock Purdy back, but still. Tennessee's 1-6. Then you go through a stretch here. At Bears, 4-2. Buffalo, Pittsburgh at home, both 4-2 right now. 3-4 the Bengals to finish off the season. Do you start to talk about whether or not you can make a run? With one win, can you start to talk about making a run? Or do you find it to be fruitless, or you just won't let yourself get there
I'm not doing it unless they win against New England.
Well, then you don't have much of a conversation, because I'm feeling the same way, too.
Okay, yeah, that's what...
I'm feeling the same way, too.
Even though just kind of looking right now at the AFC, see, the problem is, like, you're right. You think the Chiefs they're gonna hit the gas, but between them and Denver, right? Like, one of those teams that's one wild card. Unless you're thinking the division, because the division does oddly look wide open.
I mean, we can have that conversation if we really want to. I mean, again, I don't have to just get to the wild card. If I could win the division, especially if Baltimore takes on some more water here, I know that they had the week off. The Jets should be an easy enough one, but really, I think if you get to the Patriots, I think we really start to have a conversation at 3-5, because then it's the people who are cynical about it. Because I got some people who are going, well, thanks, all you did was cost us Fernando Mendoza, and I'm going, all right, we're doing this already. Like,
I had that yesterday. Definitely, I had immediately. I had 2 different people. One tweeted at me, one texted me, and they said, well, the Dolphins, they're looking for a quarterback. They're going to get a quarterback before the Browns will.
Okay. Well, eventually it's just going to come down to your scouting, all right? Because I got to be able to get this figured out here. If you get to 3-5, I'm willing to have the conversation. The reason I'm not willing to have the conversation, even though we're having the conversation right now, the reason I'm not willing to do it is basically because of how I acted in the preseason, where I'm like 6 wins, and then I let people talk me into 7 or 8 wins, and you threw that in my face last week. Not just you, everybody threw it in my face last week. When it felt like the wheels were coming off and the walls were closing in, it felt like, man. And then it was like, man, you said 8 games, 8 wins before this season. All right, you're at 2 now, and 8 wins during this is not going to get you into the postseason. So I think a lot of people are probably going to be fair to it. I can't talk about a run until you get to the New England game. Then I start to actually play with my own emotions, because then you have a bye week. You have another week to get ready. You have another week to get a quarterback ready. You have the Jets coming off of that. And what gave me some spirit, I'm not willing to meet it there yet, because fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I'm not willing to do it because the preseason helped me. But because of what he did yesterday, where there were so many people, and I couldn't help but agree with him, when I said, man, it's windy on Sunday, run the ball. run the ball. We had Nathan on. Nathan's like, run him 30 times. Run Quinshon Judkins 30 times. I think he ran the ball 25 times. He said, run him 30 times. Doesn't matter. I go, keep the ball out of the air. Keep the ball in somebody's hands. Run the ball. And so many people are going, yeah, seems like a right time to drop back and throw it 35, 40 times, Ken. It seems like 40 attempts is for the day. And I go, man, if you do that again, like, man, you're just grasping at straws. Like it.
And there was you notice they even took the quarterback off the field.
Yes.
For some of their biggest must-have conversions. They took him off and went to Wildcard that they installed this week. So, Wildcat, so much so that they knew they weren't going to be able to throw the football.
Like, guys, Kevin isn't out of the woods yet. You're 2-5. And I can't just erase everything that happened last week. There's some questions. I mean, people are looking at Myles' body language in the post-game speech and all the other stuff. I can't erase some of that. Did you see what apparently Deshaun is liking on TikTok? Is that real? Mitch said.
Okay, I saw people referencing this. I just don't know if it's true.
All right, I don't know if it's
follow
real.
him on social media because his handlers took that out of my control.
Oh, he's blocked? You blocked it?
Oh, yeah.
I don't follow him on any platform, so I don't know.
I couldn't see, but people were screenshotting that he was liking certain anti-Browns videos.
Well, I don't know if that's real, so I got to figure out if that's real first before we go further with that.
I don't have anything to confirm that's him.
But are you on TikTok?
No.
Mitch is on TikTok, I think. Have Mitch go snooping.
I have the app. Yeah, I have the app, but I can't get to certain things. So let me ask you: they would have to go 7-3 to finish with 9 wins.
Yes. That seems almost impossible at this moment.
I don't think their offense is remotely good enough to get there.
Well,
but does that get them? Does 9 wins get them in?
I think it could. I think this division is not very good right now. So if you ended up 9-8, like I think a lot of people are waiting for the Steelers' other shoe to drop, especially after what happened on Thursday night.
Yeah, but you'd have to beat
them again.
Yes,
you'd have to play them and beat them the second time around. So and that's right before the end of the season.
You're only 2 in the win column behind them.
So go with me on this. You get the 9 wins. You got to start to get to there. I don't know if you're going to do it because I think the Dolphins are a team that's quit on their coach and quit on their quarterback. They're a bad example. So after you beat the Dolphins, while I'm excited, I'm glad we won. I'm glad the people who went there got to see it. If you do think big picture, it's like, all right, this is a totally different animal than what you're going to play coming up next Sunday at Gillette with the Patriots. They're reinvigorated. They're loving Mike Vrabel. They're loving their quarterback situation. They feel like they've been freed from all the other bugaboos that have happened over the last how many years now, ever since Tom Brady left. That's a hot football team that you're playing. You go out there and you beat them, fine. The reason that I hold back on some of this conversation is because I think what the Green Bay game did, while it was a great way to win a game, it was awesome to win, I think a lot of people looked at it and goes, all right, we're just not going to let your defense beat us. So we'll continue to pour it. We'll let our defense beat up your offense, and we'll kind of go the other way. And we know we can put some points up. So if it becomes a race, and how it has become before, it's a race to the first one to 17 ends up winning the game, which is a rock fight, but that's the truth of the matter for the Browns. So if you get to this, if you get to a number that's quick enough that's even low, the Browns can't come back on you. And I think we saw that yesterday. I think we've seen that here in the Steelers game. I think we saw it in the Minnesota Vikings game. I really think it was in the Lions game, to be honest with you, in those two. Like, that's where I think the blueprint was laid. And so I think for the Browns, yes, this win is great. I'm excited for today. I'm excited that I don't have any craziness, or we're not talking about coaches getting fired or talking about anybody else getting fired. I think, though, that next Sunday would be the one going, okay, are we in for the season, or did we just enjoy a win over a hapless football team? We're not the most hapless.
It's a perfect spot because you're a big underdog. You're on the road. And Drake May looked basically perfect yesterday. Yeah. I think he had 2 incompletions in that game as they routed, another bad team. Yeah. Kind of what we did.
Browns fans can be loose going into this one. 216-474-0092. Daryl going to join us 8:20 this morning. The Dolphins are terrible, but did the win save the locker room yesterday? Because a lot of people are paying attention to the post-game speech. Coming up in 5 minutes, if we had him, would we have had a championship parade this last summer? Lima answers that, and Lima likes coming up in 5 on The Fan. Northeast Factor Directed, Northeast Factor
sports news. Your teams, your station.
Does Lima like?
Or does Lima no like?
Like?
Tell me likey. I'm liking it.
I like it a lot.
No like.
He doesn't like you.
I don't like you either.
You're tacky and I hate you.
Like or no like. Like or no like.
But I definitely knew what I liked, and I definitely knew what I didn't like.
Oh, yesterday he was in the lab cooking. Andrew Laser Eyes Barry, ladies and gentlemen. I know it seems like some of the fans are week to week or even day to day, depending on if Joe Flacco is playing. But yesterday, the Laser Eyes were in full focus.
Lima likes.
How about those rookies yesterday? First of all,
day.
Quinshon Judkins.
Lima likes.
I know the average is only 3.4 yards per carry, and it was either feast or famine, but the feasts were pretty nice because he had the 46-yard run, he had the 17-yard run, he had the Wildcat, he had the touchdowns, 3 touchdowns. Ken, is he Nicholas Chubb 2.0?
No, he's not Nicholas Chubb 2.0. Let's wait a second.
What's holding you back?
Because Nick Chubb was a very, very, very special one. All right? And I'm not just going to go and jump in and start to compare him to Nick Chubb. He is looking he's looking pretty good. He's looking pretty... I'm just not going to say he's Nick Chubb yet, okay? I'm not going to say he's Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb was a special moment for all of us. And maybe Quinshon Judkins is going to be really, really good. I'm just not ready to go there yet. He's done a fine job so far. I'm just not ready to go there yet.
And how beautiful was it
Lima likes.
that a play after he thought he got robbed of an interception, one of the great Cleveland villains of our time, speaking of Nick Chubb, Minkah Fitzpatrick. Were you not loving the fact that he gets totally beat? After that, he's demoralized. He's on the field. They were checking on him as if he was injured. I think he was just demoralized.
I shouldn't, but
His pride was injured.
I think that's what it was.
I shouldn't, but I just can't help but feel that way.
You have to love that.
I do.
You absolutely have to love it, especially him. He came down, and if you think about it, is he not the reason that Judkins is here? Like, I know eventually they were going to draft another running back.
Once you walk through that timeline, yeah.
But if you went through it, that's what I was thinking yesterday. I'm like, man, he started the domino effect that led to us maybe having our next Nick Chubb anyway.
Yeah.
So it was just a lot going on. He thinks he gets the interception. They call the ticky-tack hold or whatever. I thought it was a total gift because it should have been an interception. In the end, I don't know if any of that would have mattered. But then they come back, and Judkins just shows that burst. And it was just him plugging away. Like, they stuck with the run. Also,
they should have.
Yes, absolutely. When it comes to the rookies,
Lima likes.
Mason Graham,
Lima likes.
Carson Schlesinger. I thought after a couple weeks hiatus, I thought it was a rough couple of weeks for them, the rookies, and that's what it should be with rookies. You're going to have ebbs and flows, and historically, no Browns play well in Pittsburgh, and the rookies, really had a tough time up there. It was nice to have just all out. The rookies were on full display, and I saw it. They were getting a lot of credit around the league yesterday.
Yeah.
Well, who stood out for you?
First off, I thought Mason Graham had a hell of a game, and I know he was playing with a banged up knee. I know some people are going, "Where's he at? Where is he at?" And there were some questions here. I thought he showed up and played very, very well yesterday. So I got to go back and watch him more. I'm sure PFF will somehow disagree with me some way, somehow, because, again, you see a guy and you think he's good or bad, and they always are on the other side. But I thought Mason Graham, he had a very nice game yesterday.
I thought also, if it's a veteran and they show up on the injury report and it's not rest days, I'm like, Conklin's probably not going to play, is he? Njoku's probably not going to play, is he? But Mason Graham, he not only on the injury report, he busted his ass to get out on the field, and then he dominated. So that was awesome. And another, by the way, can I mention something along those lines? I'm sorry, real quick. I apologize. It's your statement, not mine. Gage Larverdam plays his ass off. He does.
If we're going to be bad, they were good yesterday. But if we're going to be bad, I need young guys to go out there and play their asses off.
Since we're taking a right turn.
Yes.
Ass player offers. Break
yes.
Oh, well,
yes.
Well. Do we do it in terms of their overall talent? Because I got a number 5 overall pick in there.
Go.
Amount of ass to how much they play off.
Ooh, I like
game.
it.
Man, okay. Number 3, Donovan McMillan. I know he had the big play, but still, played his ass off. Former Pitt Panther, by the way. Number 2, Gage Larvidan. Number 1, Mason Graham.
All right.
Ass player offers. There you go.
I'm going to add another one.
I'm alive.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tyson Campbell.
Indeed.
Now, we mentioned him last segment, but not only did he have the touchdown saver, he had the pick 6, but he's great in coverage.
Here you go.
I mean, he's looked better than Newsome.
Lima, I'll have you.
And Newsome was playing well.
Power rank the guys that were added through trade during the season that had an interception yesterday. Go ahead.
All right, let's start out with Tyson Campbell.
Okay.
And let's conclude with Tyson Campbell.
All right, we did it.
He's been spectacular. I know he gets targeted, man, and we knew that. In Jacksonville, teams were going and targeting him early and often. And yeah, it didn't go very well at times in the second half last week against Pittsburgh, but this was pretty darn good, I would say. Also,
I'm alive.
Did you know that Adam Archuleta, who they talked about all the games 17 times?
Yes. Since 2018, that Spiro and Adam have done the game together.
And then he talked about how he has in-laws in the area.
Yes.
And then that got me thinking, I didn't know that his wife was from, not technically Northeast Ohio, more, what do they call the Youngstown area?
We've went through this before.
They call it the Valley in Youngstown, but however, is it or is it not a part of Northeast Ohio? Adam Archuleta, proof positive it is. Somebody wake up Kenny Kidd right now, tell him to put his leather vest on, and tell him the good news. I was right, he was wrong. Youngstown is the furthest east where Northeast Ohio extends.
And if
Southeast,
any of you,
technically, because you got to go up to
Southeast, Northeast Ohio.
If any of you get some time, as long as you're not at work yet, and you have VPN, if you need it, check out Adam Archuleta's wife, Jennifer Walcott, if you have some time this morning.
You had to do it.
And I think
had to do it.
I think you'll enjoy what you see.
She has a podcast. Okay.
No kidding.
Yes.
Did you do anything before that?
I don't know. I did my own. I only investigate.
She had a few other stops. One final note.
Lima no like.
I guess I should like the confidence, but did you hear what Darius Garland had to say when discussing the Cavaliers falling just shy last year, just short, I should say? He thought the season could have ended very differently if he were healthy.
How far could y'all have went if you were healthy?
I think we would have won it. I'll say that pretty confidently. I think we would have won it. It's just the talent of this group is just out the roof. The will that we have on both sides of the ball, defensive side. We got 2 of the defensive player of the year, and I'll say the second best defensive big since we got the defensive player of the year already. So we had with Evan and Jay down there blocking shots, protecting the paint. I think that was going to really help us on that side of the ball. Then Evan growing, Donovan being Donovan, of course. Dre was coming along, Max Strus was coming along. I felt I was pretty good in the first round. So yeah, I'll say that confidently. I think that we would have.
Audio courtesy of Sirius Radio. Boy, we had such a discussion about the Cavaliers last year, what they just don't get about the postseason. I got to say, hearing that from Darius, I wonder if they learn any lessons from the postseason.
In terms of being confident or humble?
No, I never. Their confidence, I'm never worried about. Like, they're almost at times overconfident.
Well, they are. I thought you were meaning that they were overly confident.
But, like, they don't ever think they have to earn anything. Like, Darius is just like, yeah, if I would have been healthy, we would have won. We would have went to the NBA final.
Like, you want him to be confident in himself. You want to have shooters be willing to shoot.
I wonder if they just don't get what the postseason is all about at times when I hear them talk.
I don't think you need to look that deep into it, Tone. I think he's a confident man.
Like, I think Donovan understands. Like, Donovan, the minute the season's over, is like, he goes right back into, man, our guys got to understand what this level's about. And I just wonder at times if Darius even understands that. I just do. Hey, to end on a sour note.
No, I just think you're looking a little bit too deep into it. Now I kind of want to ask that question later on in the week. We have a Browns Victory Monday to get to. And by the way, if you're watching on YouTube, I was looking for my keys, and they were in my pocket the whole time. Wouldn't you know? It's always in the last place you look, guys. Sorry.
We will have Cavs home opener tickets at 9 a.m.
Yes.
Speaking of the Cavs, 9 a.m. You can get home opener tickets coming up at 9. But you must be hanging on our every word, or you shall be lost. Daryl Ryder going to join us at 8:20 this morning. And Dylan did exactly what I expected him to do in the second half. And that's a very good thing. Ken Carman, Tone Master General. We're live on YouTube. We're live on the free Odyssey app. We're live on your radio in your car. Listen all 3 ways if you want to. I hope you do. Friends, Ken Carman here for the wonderful people at Peter & Company Jewelers in Avon Lake. There's another thing I hope you do.
because I got to be real with you. I didn't think we were going to win that game, but I took my nephew to his first game yesterday, and everything that could have went right, guys. He wanted the weather. He wanted the full experience. And then they played a song that was for my dad, and he passed away. They played that, me and my sister singing it, top of our lungs, while my nephew's cheering. Man, that was one of the greatest days of my life yesterday, man. Absolutely. Super Bowl, Super Browns. Love you guys.
That was a very nice thing.
Very nice.
That was the coming in hotline. Who was that? Did they leave a first name?
That was Jeff.
That was a really nice thing. That was really
I got
nice.
one from Kevin and Berea, too.
Okay, go ahead.
Good morning, fellas. How are you guys this morning? I'll say my piece, and then I'll hang up and listen. First off, we have to do better, now that we got that out of the way. Wow, that sure was a game yesterday. I want to make this real quick. To my fans, I love you. To my haters, keep praying on my downfall because I ain't going nowhere. Just wait until Deshaun comes back and we really get this ball rolling. I think you guys should really bring back setting the tone. Anthony would be so funny. Ken, I'll save the fat jokes for another day. Hope you all have a great day.
Awesome,
Is that one of them
Kev.
AI things?
Thank you, Coach.
No,
Damn it.
No, that was him.
It was
Damn
like when
it.
we had Goofy call in from...
No.
The only thing missing is he didn't say he grew up listening to
That's
WIP
true.
in Philly.
He loves WIP in
When
Philly.
you got, I won't believe
It's
it
good to hear
until he
from
says
Coach.
he listened to WIP in Philly. Him and Angelo Cataldi, like that, man.
Odyssey
That
app.
was really good.
Favorite the station.
Yes.
Hit the coming in hotline.
Can we ask Kev why he took the ball first in that game?
There was a reason for it, and I forget. There was actually a reason for it, yeah. I forget what the hell it was. I think he was asked. I forget. There was a reason. I remember hearing in the postgame. I don't know. I was starting to get drunk by then, so we'll get that figured out. All right, Dylan Gabriel in the game. There are a lot of people talking about Dylan Gabriel, and I had some buddies in the stadium, and it was weird. They all texted at like the same time. And they weren't sitting in your sections, Anthony. These are actual hard Browns fans here, bud. And they all texted like the same time. Like when they got up 24-6, it was we gotta let Dylan throw. We gotta let Dylan throw. He's got to get him. Like a couple people mentioned him to Jerry Judy. Get them on the same page.
From yesterday?
Yesterday. I swear to on my kids, man.
Are these football guys?
These are football fans. They're football fans. They're not like me. They're not like you.
They
but
don't
they're
sound like football
fans.
guys.
They're not football guys,
Because
but they're football
guys
fans.
knew that the last thing you wanted to do in that game
Football
is
guys know the only way you're going to lose that game is to have Dylan Gabriel throw the ball.
Yes.
Speaking of football guys.
In fact, football guys would have just exclusively lined up in the Wildcat and taken Dylan Gabriel off the field.
I was complimented on Saturday as a football guy. Just going to leave that there. We got other things we got to do.
How'd it turn out?
Didn't go our way, but still, it was a hell of a lot better than it could have been. You do what you can with what you have. You get them from point A to point B as best you can, and you let the chips fall where they may.
And that's exactly what Kevin Stefanski did with Dylan Gabriel.
Damn it, that's the way to get us back on track. You see that? That's why you're you.
Yeah, I'm looking. They were up. I tweeted it out at the time because it was eerily similar to one of the Mid-American Conference games yesterday over the weekend. 24-6, they had the lead, and Dylan Gabriel was 5 of 7 for 55 yards.
Was that during or after?
That was after the pick six.
Yes, after Tyson Campbell picks.
Yeah. So he had just thrown 7 passes for 55 yards. They were not going to let Dylan Gabriel lose that game for him.
This is what I want to ask people. Was Dylan Gabriel good, bad, or just right? 216-474-0092. I thought he was just right. Because I was happy with the game plan that Kevin Stefanski laid out. I was satisfied with it. I was relieved, actually. It was a common sense game plan. It's raining, weather's lousy. It was supposed to be windy. It was a little less windy than it was, but it was still windy. You run the ball. You got Quinshon Judkins back there, your second-round pick. You only had 12 carries a week before. Run the ball. I got backups in there. I don't know if I'm ever going to see Jack Conklin again, so I'm going to have backups out there. Let's see if we can get going, and let's see what direction we can go with this. So they ran with Quinshon Judkins. Guys, I was fine with it. I was fine. And yet, you know what? Early in the game, he nearly turned the ball over. Like Dylan Gabriel, I ain't going to sit there and say he was great. He wasn't great. He was just fine. He was just fine, and I'm perfectly fine with that as of right now.
I think
if you would have thrown the ball all over the field, that would have been irresponsible. You'd have more hell over it than a little bit. You're up 24-6.
It would have looked like Tua.
And before I started bragging about football guys, Owen and I are football guys. To a degree, you're a football guy. You soon will be if Mason, does what's right. I was getting those texts from my friends, and they all, like 5 different guys, wanting to let him rip. Got to get him in a rhythm, got to get him going. I go, guys, the weather's lousy. And they're up 24-6. I go, they're going to hand the ball off on first and second down. They might throw on third. That's what they're going to do. And for the most part, that's what they did.
Well, look at the second half.
Possession game. Your defense is cooking. Your defense, like Tua didn't have much. That pick 6 to start the third quarter, I think that's where they just fell off a cliff and said, bleep this.
It was over.
And that was it. And so your defense went out and feasted for the rest of the game. They had one drive that stalled, and that was it. And I just didn't think that yesterday was the right time to start airing it out and running it up and doing those things with that weather.
No, you're right.
I don't know if he's ever going to be that quarterback. Like, my expectations for Dillon Gabriel are, again, career backup expectations. I'm not being mean-spirited. It's just what I see. I can only tell the truth. And so I wasn't going to put him, or I did not want the Browns to put him at a disadvantage because, yeah, you might complete some passes to Jerry Jeudy. You also might get picked off. Which one's he going to remember? Because I got to go into next week with him, and I got to make sure he's confident.
Yeah, they only had like 55 yards of total offense in the second half. They didn't need anything. So, it was exactly what they needed out of Dillon Gabriel. No more. Maybe could have been a little less if, the interception goes. And the other one, how about, I don't know if you were at home to see it by the time, because you're doing the pregame. And so by the time you get home, I don't know if you had seen it.
I'm home and playing anytime.
But, I mean, Archuleta called one of his throws reckless early on that somehow got to Jeudy.
He didn't seem like a big fan. He didn't seem like a big fan.
No, he didn't seem like a fan whatsoever. But the whole goal was to avoid it looking like Tua, where you need to throw the football. You're already down, and then you can't do it. You don't have Tyreek Hill to, do all the stuff that made Mike McDaniel, God, he was a media darling when it all started, because they were doing all these really cool things and concepts, but all that goes out the window in that weather.
Yeah.
And then when you don't have Tyreek Hill to begin with, that's the only shot Tua has, is to have Tyreek Hill on the field.
So how did you see it? I said he was just fine. Did you see him good, bad, or just right?
It was just right, because had they have needed him to do more, then I think it probably would have been bad. I would not have expected him to be able to do much at all.
But I got spirit from it because I'm going, I thought we were watching the end to Tua Tagovailoa yesterday.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
As far as a serious quarterback, as far as the Dolphins wanting him to be their future, I really think we saw the bitter end. I mean, you saw the Browns celebrating. You saw Browns fans celebrating. My dad's a Dolphins fan. He was absolutely disgusted, disheartened by the performance. There was a lot of people there who I did see in the green and orange who were just done with this whole thing. And then there are some listeners down that we have there in Miami, and God bless them, where they were like, well, we're just closer to Fernando Mendoza. I go, well, congratulations. I wanted to win this game. We won this game. If Fernando Mendoza goes out there and he ends up being a great quarterback, finally you'll have one for the first time really since Dan Marino, and that would be great. I love my old man. It'd be great for him to see it. But I'm worried about my situation here where we do have these QBs. I don't know if Dillon Gabriel, I don't know how many more games Dillon Gabriel is going to start, because you're a 7-point underdog coming up this Sunday. But you still had to get through the game and do the very best to take care of him. And I thought that Kevin Stefanski took care of Dillon Gabriel as best he could yesterday. Yesterday turned into a mess for Tua Tagovailoa, an absolute disaster. It could have been as bad for Dillon Gabriel. And they didn't allow it, and I was perfectly fine with it. 216-474-0092. Eric and Perry, you're first up on the Fan. Yellow.
Dude, they couldn't have played it any better. They set them up perfect. You can't sit here and just air out the ball when it's downpouring rain. I was there for the whole entire thing yesterday. It was awesome. Me and my kid and my wife, it was great. Just watching the whole fan base and everything, it was nuts. But you can't just go in there, like you said, second half and just start airing out the ball. And we could have lost the game if we started doing that.
Yeah, when they were up 24-6, I think a lot of people wanted to pour it on. I think, and by the way, I don't blame those people. I think they had a lot of frustrations they want to get out. And I think they wanted to see their team go out there and really stick it to another team. And I understand.
And I was one of those guys. But when we went into the second half and Tyson had that pick six, You should have seen the stadium, dude. It was insane.
Eric, thank you very much for the call. It was a wonderful defensive performance. A wonderful defensive performance. I thought, but when it comes back to Dylan Gabriel, I think a lot of people are excited about the defense, more excited about the defense than it is Dylan. That's why I'm like, hey, he was just right. He didn't turn the ball over, didn't do anything crazy with it, except, I mean, I know he almost had a couple of turnovers, and I know the haters out there say, well, he's almost done this, he's almost done that, he's almost done. Yeah, guys, I get it. I think eventually, a guy like that, if you expose him for long enough, I hate to say it, I think he's eventually going to get brought to justice. That's why when we were doing the schedule game, that's part of the reason I'm a little bit concerned about going nuts over there. But I thought that they had the right game plan for the type of weather that they were in, for the type of team that they were playing.
Yeah, I don't know how anybody could have any problem. I mean, the second half, they weren't going to do anything to allow Miami to get short fields or to get them confident or to give them any reason to have hope. So they sucked that right out of it. It was perfectly managed. And I don't think Stefanski has a ton of confidence in Dylan. And, when they're losing, we can talk about all the other stuff behind the scenes. But, when you have a game like that, you don't need to worry about that. And so he got to play. He got to finish out the game. He got his win. And basically everybody was happy except, probably the Shador people who probably want to see Shador at some point.
How did you, well, we'll talk about that, I'm sure. 216-474-0092. How did Dylan Gabriel do? Was he good? Was he bad? Was he just right for you in this 31-6 win over the Miami Dolphins? Well, ask Daryl that question at 8:20 as well. And at 9 o'clock, your chance to go to see the Cavs in their home opener. But you got to be listening or you shall be lost. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima on the Fan.
XTENDAV.com, Extend Technologies. It was good to text back and forth with Tony during the game. I'm always asking him questions about what is really at the height of technological breakthrough. He is on top of it all the time. Anytime I see somebody bragging about their setup, I'll throw it over to Tony and he'll start going very technical, like you're the football guy, Kenny. Tony, he's the tech guy.
He'll get
enough. And in MLB, Toronto Blue Jays forcing Game 7 of the ALCS, outplaying the Mariners 6-2 on their home turf.
Who was that for? I'm sorry, Mackenzie. Who was that for? Who gets $100,000?
Mac Jones.
Mac Jones.
Yes.
You know what he ought to do? For every win you get, if you get $100,000, do you have to split off some for your offensive line?
No.
Lima, I'm asking you a question.
No, I don't think so.
You don't have to split any of that with your offensive line?
No, they're getting paid. They get their own incentives, don't they?
Do they?
They have a chance. They have an agent.
That's interesting.
They can sign their contract.
That's interesting. Okay. I think it's only
The
right.
more you know.
I think it's only right. Hey.
Okay, yeah. Well, either
You have to
team-
share your money when things go really well with whoever fills in on the update desk?
You should. I think that should be in there.
During every update Mackenzie does she have to share time with you guys during her update?
Oh, she's getting
I
$350.
got something to say to your ass when we come back from break. Go ahead, Mackenzie. Go ahead.
Here we go. Either team one win away from advancing to the World Series to play the Dodgers. It's going to be a winner-take-all in Toronto tonight. George Kirby and Shane Bieber duel on the mound for the 8:08 first pitch. Get all of the latest Browns content filtered right to your phone this offseason by following the Browns playlist and 92.3 The Fan on the Odyssey app. Headline Sports News continues every 20 minutes on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Mackenzie Flume.
Just think, people take care of you. Do we not try to take care of Owen and Mitch if things go well in certain aspects of our careers that we can't talk about on because of company policy?
Yeah.
There you go. Well, Owen and Mitch are the offensive line. Owen is more the Joe Thomas. Mitch is more the KT Levinson. No, I'm kidding. He had a fine game yesterday, KT Levinson did, I thought.
Well, they didn't have to do a lot of dropbacks.
No, they didn't.
So it was perfect.
All right, I just wrote. I'm going to ask it on social media. Mac Jones gets $100,000 a win now. That's nice. Should he let his offensive line wet their beak? Go ahead.
For the 49ers, correct?
Yeah.
So we're getting into the splits of, so it's 50,000 for him, 50,000 for them.
I didn't say that.
And then taxes.
What's 25,000 split amongst
California taxes.
Just give them a little piece. Just let them wet their beak. Just give them a little piece.
Watch it, Owen, or Gavin Newsom's going to start tweeting at you.
All right, here we go. All right, forget that. We're moving on now. I don't need your political thoughts. Here at 8:20 this morning, Daryl Ryder going to join us on the show. We'll hear his political thoughts coming up. All right, so did Dylan Gabriel, was he good, was he bad, was he just right? I didn't think he was bad. I didn't think he was overwhelming. I thought he was just right.
Yeah,
I thought that they ran the offense the way they were. And I know there's another question. We're going to ask that question coming up here in just a few minutes. I know what you guys really want to ask, but go ahead.
Well, it's been 3 games so far, Dylan Gabriel. I don't think any better of him than I did, before this started. If for a larger scale, bigger question.
Were you one of the people saying that he looks like one of the ball boys out there and shouldn't even be out there? Because that's when you say he doesn't look any better than what you thought, they're automatically going to go. He does have his defenders out there, and because there were so many people who were so nasty about it, they automatically loop you into one of the people thinking he didn't even belong in the NFL.
Yeah, that's probably true. Let me clarify, because the way some people were making it sound is that he did not belong on a roster. The only thing is, there's so many quarterbacks that play now in a given season in the NFL. Like, there's a bunch of guys that, like yesterday, how many guys could have done given you the Dylan Gabriel experience yesterday? I mean, honestly, it was probably 50 guys, 60 guys, right? That could have done that.
60 guys?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, who out there couldn't have?
Yeah. If you're spotted
in that situation, have the lead.
A lead like they had to start the second half. Yeah. Could Quinn Ewers do it if they swapped?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't he?
Would Dylan have gotten killed by the pass rush?
I'm going to get a couple of calls in here and see what they think, and then I'm going to ask you about another person.
Okay.
And whether they could do it. George in Northfield. Hello, George.
Hey guys, I enjoyed the win yesterday, but I'm done seeing Dylan Gabriel.
You're done?
He completed 3 consecutive passes on first down, and he only gained 2 yards. And it's 4th and 8.
Well, you got to crawl.
Impossible.
You got to crawl before you walk, George.
That's almost impossible to do.
Listen, he's not that great, and I do think that he's limited. I don't think that he's the future of the franchise. But hey, if he goes, he's going to get the chance to start until the wheels absolutely come off. Now, maybe they'll come off on Sunday against the New England Patriots, but you don't want to root against your favorite football team just to prove a point, do you?
No, exactly. I don't know if it's the scheme or what, but that just I don't know how that happens. 3 consecutive, his completion percentage looks good, but you only gained 2 yards on 3 consecutive passes.
I don't even know if it's that, because I tell you, I think it. And George, thank you very much for the call. Like if they were running 5 wide with those wide receivers and things like that, then I think, in doing it consistently, then I think there might be an issue that some people have. But this is a protectionist offense. It's made to try to do what Quinshon Judkins did yesterday, which was go out and score touchdowns and execute from within the red zone and do that. It's not meant to go out there and to really go after over the top on defenses. That's why, like, hey, we had some fun there in the second segment, but that's part of the reason why it's like, hey, I'm going to calm my jets here a little bit and look at what this team for what it is and still what this offense is for what it is. And they got a long way to go before they change my opinion on that. It could go a long way coming up on Sunday against New England, but that's coming up this Sunday. I still want to enjoy this game here.
And think about it. Think about who they were using yesterday. It should tell you all you need to know about the game plan. I mean, they targeted Malachi Corley. They targeted Blake Whiteheart. God bless his soul, trying to hang on to that football.
Man, I felt terrible for him, but yeah.
Yeah, some of this, and even the caller mentioned that. I'm looking at a spot where they had 3 completions for 1 yard. It was in the fourth quarter, and you got a 24-6 lead.
Yeah, right.
It's not like you're airing it out.
No.
That is ball protection when they know that all you're doing is running the ball. Mm-hmm. It's a different form of running the ball, right?
Because now
a little dink and dunk.
Exactly. Now it's a clock game because you're still putting it on your defense to go out there and make plays, and the defense feasted because that's what you're trying to do. And again, they had that one drive where they had to get it on the 4th down where he burned a timeout for whatever reason. He should have just thrown a challenge flag. Talking about McDaniel here. And you and I talked about this before the game or before the show. He should have thrown the challenge flag. He didn't. He burned the timeout, still went for it, got it. They went down the field a little bit, but it still came up with nothing. And that was about it. You pinned him deep. Corey Bajorquez was able to pin him deep. Obviously, we know what happened after that. And then the defense played its face-off. Yeah.
That same drive, that was a 9-play, 27 yards, 5:45 by the offense. You were up 24-6. That's a win drive, right? Even though you do nothing on the drive.
Yes.
You eat the ball for 6 minutes.
Because then it becomes a possession game. Because a lot of teams, listen, they had Jalen Waddle at the time. I know Jalen Waddle got banged up towards the end of the game, which I hate to say it, there was some great audio during the Jalen Waddle getting banged up situation, which I didn't. Later. Yeah, do we have it or we can get it later? So there was some great audio during that. Hate when a guy, basically gets his back broken on the field, but either way. It was a game where as long as I take away their time, they shouldn't be able to come back. They really should be down about everything. They really should give up on themselves. You just got to get them there. They know their destiny. You got to make them reach their destiny. And defensively, you're able to do it. If I start throwing the ball all over the place and I turn the ball over on my side of the field, then I'm just giving them life. All I would have done by throwing the ball a lot with Dylan Gabriel yesterday when you're up 24-6 is just giving them chances to jump back in the football game. 24-6 looks bad. 24-13 looks really doable. There is a huge difference. 24-6 looks like a really bad score, like things are not going your way and things are going to hell. 24-13, all of a sudden, now guys are kind of looking around going, well, we still got 5 minutes left to go in the third quarter, then we got a whole another quarter left. Like, you don't want that to happen. And that's what I thought the Browns did, and that's why I was happy about it, because you executed that way. Leroy in Cleveland, hello.
It's bad. Good morning.
What's bad?
That's my name. That's my hook. Bad Leroy Brown.
I hate to do this to you, Leroy. I knew that was
bad nickname.
Well, his name's Leroy Brown. You get it?
I know. It's great.
Gabe and Ashtabula, hello.
Yo, it's Gaby Brazy. So,
So one of the big questions I am getting, and I wrote it down. About 4.5 minutes left. I'm gonna get beat up just for asking. Would you put Shador in? Once they put in Quinn Ewers and the game was over, would you maybe let Shador take some snaps just to hand the ball off?
I would not have.
Why not?
I don't see the use for that, and I don't know that they want to invite a lot of the nonsense that could be lurking behind the scenes.
What nonsense? You line him up. I know he hasn't done much under center, if at all. I hope he's done a little bit now. hand the ball off. You can't do a snap. They're professional football players. You can't just run draws.
I think it also would be kind of disrespectful to Dylan to do that to him.
What do you mean it's disrespectful? You're up 31-6. What's disrespectful?
Why are you yanking him? It's his first win as an NFL quarterback.
It's not a yank. You're up by so much. You can let the backup come in and finish it off.
I had no problem with it. I think it would have been just silly adding to all that other stuff that seems to surround the conversations we have about Shedeur.
You're getting way too sensitive about the conversations about Shedeur then. I mean, look at it like I'm not ripping Stefanski for not doing it, okay? But at the same time, like, if you're just afraid about all the air all over the Shedeur stuff here, then what's the point of this then, Anthony? For the love of God.
Well, I asked that question when they decided to take two quarterbacks in the draft.
Because you're going to give him a chance. Eventually he's going to get a chance. I mean, Dylan Gabriel, yes, he played certainly well enough to beat the Dolphins in a bad weather game, all right? And I think he's probably a career backup. And I think a career backup, if that's what you are, you can go a handful of games without being figured out, but all of a sudden you're going to get figured out. And so I think Shedeur will naturally take his chance, and we'll see where he goes. But I'm thinking, well, there's about 4 minutes left. I know that the fans were chanting for the guy. I know that they were. Maybe that's one of your reasons you don't want to, but I'm not ripping him for not putting him out there. I'm just saying it would not have been so bad to put him out there with 4 minutes left to go.
When would you have made the move to Shedeur then?
With about 4 minutes left to go. I just said that three times.
Yeah. Okay. I wanted to know how early you would have done it, just in case, to make it a bigger thing.
That was the early, when I wrote it down.
It had to get to a 25-point deficit, and then you're throwing him in there.
Yeah. 31-6, 25 points, yeah. But it wasn't like that. I thought there was enough time. When did they take the 31-6 lead? There was still some decent amount of time left to go in the fourth quarter.
So they took the 31-6 lead because they had that pick, and then Quinshawn ran it right in, right?
Okay.
So then Miami had 2 plays and an interception. So there was approximately 9:58 left when they got the ball back after that interception.
I wouldn't have put him back in like that. I would have just let it fly. But when I think they took the field once when there was about 4.5 left to go. And I think maybe I would have put Shedeur in there. If Quinn Ewers is in there, I mean they're giving up. They're letting him finish off the game. That's it. Maybe I'll let Shedeur take some snaps.
I guess is that
such a bad thing? Am I starting a controversy just by saying that?
I guess I just don't see the purpose. Like, what are you trying to gain? You're calling those because those aren't real reps. So what is it? Like, what are you getting out of it? What's the benefit?
They're real reps. He's out there on the field in a real NFL football game. Every rep's a real rep.
I don't know if that fourth quarter felt like a real NFL football game.
So with 6:45 left, that's the last real time they got the ball, right?
We're talking. You're so sensitive. Yeah.
Judkins had a 3-yard run up the middle. There was a short pass to Fannin, who extended it, got a first down, and then a 3-yard run, and then they took a sack, and then they punted.
Why are you so afraid to put the guy in when you're up by 25 points with 4 minutes left to go in the game?
To avoid the nonsense around the conversation.
So
really.
Ryan Clark runs the Cleveland Browns now because he's going to have parts on first take about it?
Don't act like they're not sensitive to all that stuff. Don't act like that stuff isn't hovering around their every move in that building. They're being asked about it. Finally, you get that stuff to calm down. You have a quarterback in Dylan Gabriel, who I didn't think he had to do very much, but he's going to get his first win. And now he's got to deal with the crowd going nuts, the Sanders supporters when he comes
Sanders
on the field.
In the first time, do you have to let him throw? Because if they put him in just to hand the ball off to Dylan Gabriel,
I don't got to let him throw.
Sorry,
I don't got to let him throw. If you sit there and if you say anything to me, it's going, hey, this was the game plan. The game plan was to hand the damn ball off and get off the field. That's what it was. I mean, we can be men about this, can't we? Are you just trying to get me angry?
I don't see a win in putting him in.
Yeah, I don't either.
I don't see a loss. What's the problem with doing it?
The loss is he comes in and you don't throw A, so you lose the fan there, or B, you do throw and he doesn't look great. Or he throws them back into the game.
I get him on the field. He gets some playing time. He gets to call play in the offense.
Off the ball is playing time?
Yes.
Okay.
You could always mess up the handoff.
They might as well. They had Luke Whippler check in every other play. They might as well had him check in and play quarterback then.
But should they have gotten Jerry Jeudy off the field? Should they have gotten Fannin off the field? I mean, those guys were all still in there.
Yeah, they should have left them out there.
Judkins was in. Njoku wasn't there.
Njoku wasn't out there.
That's why Whippler checked in so much.
Judkins was playing. They didn't pull him. So why would they just pull the quarterback but not the other guys?
You want to do about last night, or you want me to take my beating?
That doesn't really make sense.
216-474-0092. We'll do a quick about last night. Super Bowl Super Browns made its way into the broadcast, and whether or not it's not that bad to put the kid out there, for crying out loud. What's the point of even having him on the roster then, guys? Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, take us with you to work on the free Odyssey app.
Anthony Lima.
straight to your inbox. 923thefan.com.
So much can happen around the globe that we never hear of.
Embarrassing. We got to be better on defense.
It won't matter till April. I think we know that. Y'all gonna write us off. We could go 82-0, no one would care.
He's a piece of crap. The kid, he sucks. He's sucked his whole career.
I got rumors about him, how he couldn't please his wife, so now he's divorced.
Put a damn winning team on the field.
Now the Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima give their thoughts on what you might have missed about last night.
Well, those who braved the elements yesterday at Huntington Bank Field were treated to a 31-6 Browns victory over the Miami Dolphins yesterday, and they were celebrating throughout that fourth quarter, so much so that a fan decided to take the time during an injury timeout for the Dolphins to cherish the Browns' victory. This audio courtesy of CBS Sports.
Mike McDaniel back onto the field with the Miami athletic trainers. As we are down to 3:06 left in the fourth.
If you didn't catch that was a Super Bowl Super Browns chant during the injury timeout.
Audio courtesy of CBS. That was awesome.
Now, it was not necessarily
the best timing.
Well, there was an injury, obviously. Was this after the spine buster that we saw on the field?
I texted Nathan because he said that's what it's called, as a spine buster. I said it's spine. I sent him the Arn Anderson, the spine.
Well, there was that.
Pine.
Delpit also delivered a kidney shot on the one play. It was an awesome play.
Oh, boy.
And, I mean, it was nice because a week earlier it was the Steelers doing this to us, so it was nice to inflict onto another team.
I thought there were hits all game. They were laying people out, man. Whoa.
Oh, yeah. The Schlesinger on one just threw the dude down.
You're right.
So
Delpit brought his hammer with him. That was something.
You know, do we want Browns fans chanting Super Bowl, Super Browns? Yes. Do we want them chanting it while, they're worried about a player?
I think the guy just yelled it. I didn't think he really cared about whether or not there was an injury out there. I think he just was excited that they were winning and yelled it.
He didn't have the timing
I'm going to defend the perfect stranger.
I'm going to chalk that up to some drinks. That'll throw off your rhythm.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Sometimes I come in here drunk and I say the worst things at the worst time.
It's also Spiros' cadence during the broadcast that mixed with that guy's reaction.
You know him by a first name basis.
Boy, I saw a lot of people trashing the broadcast.
That was fine.
First of all, our friend Aditi is doing a great job on the broadcast. She didn't get one of those crazy moments that the people are going to talk about. It was just a normal.
No Ben Johnson.
Coach got mad at her.
Yeah.
Maybe next time.
I was hoping that somebody would start because Aditi can hold her own. So I was hoping McDaniel would say something, but he doesn't seem like that type of a guy.
Well, she went to Kevin right before they went in at halftime, right? I don't think McDaniel wanted anything to do with talking to anybody yesterday.
Well, you mentioned McDaniel. He spoke in the post-game press conference yesterday, whether he wanted to or not, and said, "You know what, guys? If you're not bringing anything good to the team, I can't do anything for you."
There's a lot of guys that will have an important work week because we're not. I mean, if you are negatively affecting the football team routinely, I don't have a choice but to assess a different player, and I have to coach a lot better as well. So we're going to find out who and what we're made of.
We take any bets today by this afternoon whether he'll still be employed?
I thought he would have been
50-50.
I thought he was going to be fired last night. Ken, you did make the point that you don't see that in the NFL that often. That night firings, normally it's
sometimes on the last week of the season.
Yeah, that's true.
But not here, no.
It was incredible, though. The penalties, that stuff we're used to seeing over the years on bad Browns teams. I mean, they were all on third down or special teams, so it meant they were either starting every possession inside their own 10 or, their defense not being able to get off the field was the big reason why we were able to sustain 2 drives early on. You were talking about Dylan Gabriel and how we assessed him. How would we assess him in that game yesterday if our offense doesn't get to stay on the field because of those third down penalties?
I think we probably are saying some very nasty things in his direction more than likely. I got to tell you.
Dolphins had 11 penalties yesterday. That's it for about last night.
It was more than 11. I mean, really, it was like 14 or 15 because of... they declined some of them because we were getting first downs anyway. But it was crazy to see that kind of undisciplined stuff on a different team.
So I'm getting ready to jump back into the fire here. There's a lot of people who agree with you, Anthony. I think that you guys all need to go find a safe space and hold each other. Because the reaction to it, the reasoning to not, we don't want to put him in. Why don't you? Well, why? Because we don't need the drama. What drama? What drama is it? And somebody sent me the video. I did not know that Kenny Pickett fumbled his first snap as a Las Vegas Raider. I'm not trying to laugh at him. Whoever did it, and I wish I had your name on me right now. Good on you. That was a hell of a moment. But like, there were a couple of people tweeting him like, you and Anthony just need to go hold each other in the corner of the room and stop being afraid of all this. You could have put him in there, could have handed the ball. Who cares? Who cares? He comes out on the field, fans go nuts, he hands the ball off, you finish off the game, you win. Who cares? The outside noise stuff, all the things that they've done for the most part this year, I think have been against outside noise, have been flying in the face of outside noise.
And do you think they've dealt with it well?
I think they've dealt with it as best they possibly can. I don't know. Well,
I don't know. It didn't feel that way last week.
I think a lot of teams probably would have dealt with it pretty poorly. I didn't like the whole all of a sudden he's second team, where I didn't think that was going to be a Kevin Stefanski decision. So that made me worried about where the power is and who's coming in and making decisions and things like that. That made me worried. But if he goes in there in the fourth quarter with 4 minutes left to go and just hands the ball off, guys, I'm sorry. If you don't want to put him out there, you don't want to put him out there. The reasoning I'm mad is because of your reasoning. The drama. Then what are we doing here? Then what's the point of any of this? If you're that afraid of people on TV or on the radio or on podcasts or their TikTok videos, if you guys are that afraid to put them out there, then never take another quarterback ever. Because there's going to be more Shedeur Sanders than there's going to be ever Dylan Gabriel's ever in the history, ever in the future of football. There's going to be more guys with more cameras following them around. So if you can't handle it, just go hide in the corner and let everybody else do it.
You haven't really made a case on where the benefit of putting Shedeur in yesterday
I don't see the harm in it.
But that's different. That's different. I asked you what the benefit is, and you go to where the harm is. Because you know there's not really a benefit.
Because you went immediately to people online being upset with him. Like the Browns aren't used to people cussing them out on the internet.
Well, you got to explain to me
going on since there was the internet.
Why you're depriving Dylan Gabriel of the moment to have being able to do a victory formation, his first win.
Depriving him of anything. You're up 31-6.
You'd be taking him out.
It's 31-6.
Why doesn't he get to finish the game? I mean, Junkins got to finish the game. Jerry Jeudy got to finish the game. Why doesn't Dylan Gabriel? What do you got against Dylan?
I don't have anything against him. It's not an insistence of pulling him out. I just think you're a little too nervous. I'll tell you the benefit. It's just getting him out there in an NFL game, handing the ball off. So you have to do. He gets in the huddle. He calls a play. He covers his ears and listens to it and then, goes on in. Or doesn't have to cover his ears. I don't know. There's probably not a lot of people left in the stands at that point. That's part of it. I cannot, guys. 216-474-0092. I think you guys are crazy. I think you're way too sensitive on this, man. I'm not beating the drum saying he should have finished the game and the Browns did him wrong.
Wait, it sounds like you are beating the drum.
No.
It is. Don't walk it back now.
No, go back and listen to the audio.
Ken Carman thinks it was a big mistake not putting him in.
No, I don't. I never said a mistake.
That better be the headline, Mitch.
That better not be the headline.
If you're this mad at me and calling me sensitive, then clearly you think they should have. You should have put Shedeur in. Clearly, because your words are not...
There's something I want to call you right now that I know I would have to get dumped.
This intensity from you only means that you wanted him in there. And you think Stefanski made a mistake not putting him in?
No, it was not a mistake. I didn't say it was a mistake. I said, what's the problem with putting him out there? It's not a mistake. There was not... How could he make a mistake up 31-6? There was not... No. Do not... Mitch, if you do that, I swear to God, you and I are going to have it out in the hallway. There was no mistake made. I just thought, what's the harm of putting him out there? I didn't think it would be a big deal to put him out there. What's wrong with that? Are we really that afraid of the people on the internet? Are we really that afraid? And I'm not even talking to the Browns. I'm talking to all you guys. Are you really that afraid of what people are going to say on First Take about your football team? Like you haven't already agreed with it over the last how many months? Who cares? Who cares? It would have been a little bit of extra time. Does it really matter? No, it doesn't. It wasn't a mistake. They left Dylan Gabriel out there, fine. And you know what? You make a sound argument for Dylan Gabriel to stay out there. That's perfectly fine. Let him get the taste of victory. Let him take the kneel down. That's perfectly fine and good. But I don't understand. Oh my God, the world's coming to an end if he just calls a play and hands the ball off. Daryl Ryder, 820. You guys next on The Fan. Tom Merriman and Merriman Legal. All right, I'm not necessarily the type of guy you want in a courtroom. Maybe you are. Maybe you are. Maybe you want some bluster. Maybe you want some heat in that courtroom. come off like Al Pacino and Justice for All yelling out there. But maybe you want somebody who treats everything like an investigation. Maybe you want somebody who doesn't go off half-cocked like I do. Well, how about a guy?
live every Wednesday at 4. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
I don't know if anything was swirling around, but, just on our end, I think continuing to fight, continuing to claw and scratch to be a good football team. We know that it's little plays here and there that adds up, but the attention to detail has to be at all-time high, and we understand that. But it does feel good to see the defense do what they do. Our run game continue to take strides in that way, and then just special teams making plays as well. We always talk about complementary football, but seeing us all come together is important and good to see.
I just hope all the fans of a certain quarterback know who's just terrified to put their favorite quarterback in. Oh no, heavens to Murgatroyd! He can't come in when we're leading by 25 to hand the ball off. No! Oh please, somebody think of the children. I love the responses. I love the responses. Nosebleed dog pound, which obviously, is there a nosebleed section of the dog pound?
Yeah, there's a higher up.
Yeah, part. Yeah, it goes all the way up.
Yeah.
Social media reactions brought to you by Shop and Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store. You're right, Ken. Prove the Browns really are a high school football JV team. Get all the third stringers in there so mommy and daddy can take pictures. I don't know. Does Donovan McMillan start on defense? You want to see where he is on the depth chart?
It wouldn't be mommy and daddy.
Where's Donovan at on the depth chart?
It would be daddy's film crew that would be taking the picture.
Well, funny you should say something
ridiculous.
Because there was a 20-minute video yesterday from Well Off Media that said the Cleveland Browns destroy the Miami Dolphins, Shedeur Sanders on game day.
He's allowed to own business. Allowed to run a company.
Was there anything good
You're
behind
right.
the
It would
scenes?
have looked good for the end of that had he actually been on the field at all.
It would have. Would have been a nice... I'm sure it's got many, many, many thousand views.
It does. It's got way more thousand views than Cleveland Browns coach speaks after the game or Cleveland Browns starting quarterback speaks after the game.
What Dylan Gabriel's media company be called? Ponder that one for the next hour.
5-9 Productions.
Okay.
Get out of here. Get out of here. It was too quick. Get out of here.
He's not 5'9". Why do people keep saying 5'9"?
I'm saying without shoes.
He gets to wear shoes in the games.
You're an ass.
I'm saying.
As I was
now
told
you're making me
several
defend the
times
guy.
yesterday, 7-stud cleats.
I just hope everybody knows. He's so afraid of the 13th. Well, excuse me, he's not the backup. You're so afraid of the backup quarterback. Terrifying.
I think it's more that I'm afraid of how this team would deal with all that stuff. I just don't think they would deal with it very well.
Him handing the ball off?
Oh, no, it's not that.
It's not the nuclear football. It's a regular football.
I already saw it. People
just hand the thing off.
People are saying it would have been disrespectful for Shedeur to go out there. I was saying for Dylan Gabriel not to enjoy his win to completion, but they're saying it would have been disrespectful to Shedeur to go in at mop-up time.
One, I do like the term to completion.
To completion, yes.
Two, that's a salient point that I'm not going to fight you on. About him finishing off the game. That's fine. But I just, the other stuff, the hand wringing and pearl clutching over Shedeur, whether or not he would have just handed off the ball. I mean, who cares? For the love of God. You're such a baby.
They could have put Shedeur Sanders mops up the Miami Dolphins.
Kyle in Cleveland, hello.
Hey, good morning. Good morning.
Hi.
Hey, Ken, you're absolutely right. The only thing that could have went better yesterday was putting Shedeur in. That stadium would have erupted like we just clinched a first-round bye. And that could have put some life back into the season that we're all struggling to find reasons to watch every week, and that would have been one. So, Ken, you're absolutely right.
Kyle, thank you very much for the call. And I wouldn't have said,
Is that for the reason you wanted it, Ken? You just want to find some meaning in the season by getting the fans to get some cheap pop?
It would have been. No, I did want it to be forgettable, and it's 2-5. They're 2-5 right now, and they're on their way to forgettable. It's not about a cheap pop. It's about him getting in there and getting to call a play and getting to hand the ball off and anything like that. And they've done everything they could to fly in the face of me. Like, I got people who are defending Chef Zay, defending you and what you said. Like, guys, they've done this before. I understand. And he makes a great point about the Joe Flacco thing. Like, hey, Joe Flacco didn't come. Actually, I think I'm making it for him here. Joe Flacco didn't come back because that was a fan reaction. Are the fans really going to say, we got a bunch of calls if he'd have came in the fourth quarter and handed the ball off? Would we have got a bunch of calls talking for Shedeur to start for the Browns instead of Dillon Gabriel over something like that? No. And by the way, they don't dislike Dillon Gabriel. They dislike the other guy. They dislike him. No, who dislikes Dillon Gabriel? Nobody dislikes him. They might not think he's God's gift. They might think that his backup has a higher ceiling. They may think that. Nobody dislikes Dillon Gabriel. Seems to be a nice young man. The other guy, yeah, they don't like. So it wouldn't have been, I'll tell you this, to disagree to an extent with Kyle, it wouldn't have been a stadium eruption. There wasn't enough people left for there to be a stadium interruption. It would have been a guy finishing off a birdie putt to finish off his round, and it would have been a long putt, and people would have been excited for it. And then he tips his cap, and then that's the end of the round. That's what it would have been.
Well, it depends. Would the people that were
it's
left...
Jesper part of it
been
at the
his
end.
caddy coming in to finish off the putt for him.
It would have been Hale Irwin or Tom Kite at the end finishing it off.
Well, were there some people yesterday that only stayed till the end to see Shedeur? Because if that's the case, then they would have erupted,
and
for sure.
Maybe they were there to see Shedeur at the end. I'm not sure. Dave in North Canton. Hello, Dave.
How you doing? You know, I listen to your show quite a bit.
Thank you.
And I find a comparison between, you know, back in the 70s when Sipe, you know, he had a backup McDonald. Everybody wanted to see McDonald because the storyline for Sipe was he didn't have a strong arm. He wasn't real mobile, you know, but you know what? He didn't lose games for us. And I'm not saying Gabriel's Brian Sipe. I'm not doing that at all. But what I'm saying is, you know, Gabriel hasn't lost a game yet. You know, if the team lost, Gabriel really didn't. He don't turn the ball over like Tua did yesterday. You know, they might have beat us if Tua wouldn't have turned the ball over so many times. But I think it's disrespectful for people. This kid came and won the job. You know, Oregon aren't a bunch of fools up there. They wanted him there. You know, all these other teams want him there. But Cleveland, for some reason, they have a feeling that, you know, and I got to say, the sportscasters in Cleveland, back in the 70s, some of them have been ran out of town because people were different back there. They wanted to win. They didn't want to see a celebrity or anything like that. We don't know what Shedeur does. Go ahead.
It's 2025.
What are you upset about?
We're still doing Brian Sipe comparisons right now.
Well, I think we're talking about the size there. Dave, thank you for listening and for the call.
Wasn't that?
I don't know what that was. All right, listen. You could say Dillon Gabriel hasn't lost us a game. Yeah, it's a team loss. I mean, I know what I saw against Pittsburgh. It wasn't very good quarterbacking. Okay, I know what I saw yesterday. Yesterday was just fine. You hand the ball off. You throw a couple of passes. You go out there. You beat the brakes off the Dolphins defensively. You scored over 20 points finally, and you scored it legitimately with your offense too. I don't care about the ball placement and all the other things. Fine, that's fine. I'm not trying to take anything away from him. You see, this is where that guy made the call for you. See, that's what you're afraid of. You're afraid of Dave's call. Dave doesn't ever want to see Shedeur Sanders. That guy never wants to see him. That guy doesn't like that he's on the team. He doesn't like that we spend too much time talking about him. He don't want to say, that's the guy you're afraid of. That guy might have been upset going, why didn't Dillon get his thing? No one's being disrespectful to Dillon Gabriel. They took him in the 3rd round. He's got a contract. That's not disrespect. That's money. Nobody's being disrespectful. Being disrespectful, if I were to still sit here and say that he doesn't deserve, which I never said he didn't deserve to be in the NFL, but if I were one of the people and still said he didn't deserve to be in the NFL, maybe I'm being disrespectful. Oh, I'm sorry. He's got a contract. He's a 3rd rounder, and I think he's going to draw a pension in the NFL. That's disrespectful? That's not disrespectful. But because we are zealous about and this is where you're right. This is where I lose, Tone. Being disrespectful, we talk about that. We just don't. Some people just don't want to see the other guy. Okay, great. That's where you win, because there's going to be more calls like that who would be upset or would be upset that Shedeur even came in. My issue is the Browns have acted as if they weren't afraid of anybody's opinion this entire time. Now all of a sudden you're making a case that they should be afraid of guys on first takes opinions and things like that. That doesn't wash with me. If they felt that he could have went in there and handed off the ball, fine. Your argument, really, honestly, that's where it should have ended. Because if you would have just said, hey, go ahead and let him finish off the game. He's never won a game before. He played reasonably well. Didn't set the world on fire, played reasonably well, conducted the offense, let him take a knee. You know what? You win. That's fine. You know what, Tone? In the real world, that's perfectly fine with me, because that makes a great point. Let them know what it's like to take a knee, do the victory. That's good too. But I just don't buy the, oh my God, I'm afraid of all the nasty calls about Shedeur Sanders. I'm afraid of all the people on TV about Shedeur Sanders. I'm afraid of sports talk radio about Shedeur. No. Lord, no.
I saw somebody message us and said Tom Brady never left games. I'm like, that can't be true. They were blowing so many teams out. I can't imagine that Tom Brady didn't give way at times to... whether it was Brian
I have to go
Hoyer.
Back and see, because you remember the Patriots were notoriously weird about that because Gronk got hurt in garbage time, and Bill, instead of giving his usual bristly answer, Bill Belichick came out and goes, "Guys, I only got 46 of them. Are you telling me he's more? Not he's a great player, but is he more important than this guy, that guy, the other? Do I tell him that he's got to come out, but the other guy's got to stay in? What do I do?" Like he did give a good answer. Well, you could still sit there and go, guys, it's Gronk. You should take him out. He did give a good answer for what it was, because when you only can dress 46 at the time, that does make it a little bit difficult when you're trying to win in garbage time, because you don't want to leave everybody else out there. And emptying the bench, it's a short trip to empty the bench. I'll grant him that. Coming up next, the dangerous one, Daryl Ryder. You think he'll agree or disagree with you about Shedeur? I think he's going to agree with you. I think he's totally going to agree with you.
I think he's going to agree with you.
No, he's going to agree with you. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, and, the Dolphins are terrible. But did a win like that yesterday save the locker room for Kevin Stefanski? Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, the dangerous one, and 5 on the Fan.
Anthony Lima, 4. Q.
back in Toronto tonight. George Kirby and Shane Bieber dueling it out on the mound, the 8:08 first pitch. Get all of the latest Browns content filtered right to your phone this offseason by following the Browns playlist and 92.3 The Fan on the Odyssey app. Headline Sports News continues every 20 minutes on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital's Sports Desk, I'm Mackenzie Flume.
Lima's watching Mac Jones highlights during the break. If you think you hated my Shedeur Sanders take a moment ago, don't get me started on Mac Jones.
You mean Browns QB1 next year? Mac Jones?
See, now, don't make me give my opinion of Mac Jones.
Reckless speculation.
All right, I'm just going to say it. If you're not excited, if the Browns actually play themselves, look at the upcoming schedule. Now, you got the Patriots coming up. That's going to be a toughie. They're good. I picked them to go to the playoffs this year, Tone.
You're 7-point dogs. That's looking really, really prescient right now.
But then all of a sudden you got 0-7, 1-5, 2-5, 6-2 49ers. By that time, Brock Purdy should be back. 1-6 coming up. Like, you might be a 6-win football team. Okay?
Yeah.
It also could be a 2-win football team by the time it's all said and done. Let's not go crazy. But if you have to get into the, if you have to get into the revitalization business, getting new guys, a fresh coat of paint, seeing whether or not he might be an option. Now, let me explain it. Now, I know you guys are going to roll your eyes and say, no, Lima's nodding his head. The reason I say it is because you see what Shanahan's doing with him. Now, I know we probably wouldn't have a guy as good as Shanahan, whether Kevin stays or whether Kevin goes, whatever. But if you got to get into the reclamation project business, I could easily talk myself into it because, one, who took him? Who drafted him? Belichick. What did Belichick do immediately? Put defensive guys on offense and let them call the offense. I mean, you see Matt Patricia right now with Ohio State. Matt Patricia is a defensive guy. Bill Belichick I could make an argument that he should be in NFL jail just for doing that to his rookie quarterback that he took in the first round. Hey, this will fix it. Put the defensive coordinators in charge of the offense. That's why, if Belichick ever gets brought up for an NFL job, crazy. Daryl Ryder joins us right now. He's crazier than Belichick. He joins me right now. He joins us right now. Brought to you by Scheiben Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store. Hello, Daryl.
Hello, boys. Better mood this morning, I hope.
Hell yeah, Browns won yesterday, brother. Hell yeah. Got a fan on the CBS broadcast yelling Super Bowl, Super Browns. Of course, that's not ours. We just perpetuate it. We're glad to have that out there. Our good buddy Jason and his friends, they gave it to us. So it's only on loan. It's not ours. But it's owned by all Browns fans, if you ask me. Got that? Quinshon Judkins looked good. Defense looked good. You got all these guys in the secondary making plays. Grant Delpit, I said, boy, he brought a sledgehammer with him yesterday. He was laying people out, also making the big plays. This is a good time, Daryl. Yesterday was a damn good time for everybody.
Never been grateful to have a team from Miami visit Cleveland.
You've never been more grateful for a team from Miami to visit Cleveland, you're saying?
Absolutely.
There we go. Daryl Ryder brought to you by Scheiben Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store. Okay, so did this team do enough? Did that win do enough to get the locker room back on Kevin's side? Were they off Kevin's side? Did he save the locker room? What do you think?
I think so. I mean, look, I think Kevin Stefanski understood the assignment yesterday. They ran the ball, and they ran the ball some more offensively. Quinshon Judkins was fantastic with the 3 touchdowns. Dylan Gabriel was okay. Wasn't great. I mean, obviously the completion percentage was fantastic at 13 of 18, but he wasn't great, but he didn't have to be great. He didn't have to go out there and put up big numbers. So a really good job by him playing turnover-free football. The conditions, well, at least for a half, were pretty sloppy. Really like the way they closed the door on Miami. Never really gave the Dolphins a chance to get off the mat. So all in all, a solid win. Offense, defense, special teams, the most complete performance of the year. But it also helped that it was the Miami Dolphins in town because, boy, are they an awful football team.
Well, does it help, Daryl, maybe reshape where we think we are in the tiers of the NFL? Because after last week in Pittsburgh, it felt like the Browns were as bad as anybody. And then you see a dominant performance like that in which, the offense didn't even really have to do anything, and you so soundly beat them. Does it change your perception of where the team is?
I think that the Browns are one of the better teams among the league's worst, if that makes sense. I don't think that they're ready to beat the elite. I don't think that they're ready to play with the elite in the league. But I think what they showed you yesterday is if you're a really terrible team, they can curb stomp you in rather easy fashion. And you guys were talking about it. The schedule's very favorable for them coming up. Yeah, once you get by New England here, the Jets don't have a win. That's a great way to come out of your bye week and feel good about yourselves. The Ravens, I think, are dead in the water, frankly, until Lamar Jackson comes back. As they're 1-5, you got 2-5 Vegas, who just got curb stomped by the Kansas City Chiefs yesterday. And then, of course, Tennessee is on the schedule, too. After you play 5-2 San Francisco. So there are some winnable games on this schedule. I said at the beginning of the season, I felt this was about a 6-win football team. And looking at the schedule right now, guys, I think ultimately that's where the Browns are going to fall, finishing at 6-11 because of these winnable games. I think that they can beat all of those teams. It's just whether or not, okay, can you play with the New Englands of the world? Can you play with San Francisco? Can you play with Chicago and Buffalo and Pittsburgh? Can you do that? And then you have an opportunity maybe to make a little noise. But there's a lot of winnable football games on this schedule, and hopefully we see some repeat performances in those games like we saw yesterday.
Daryl Ryder joining us right now. So I asked Ken earlier in the show if he thought Judkins was Nick Chubb 2.0. He didn't want to go there necessarily, but a couple special runs yesterday. And I know these teams are game planning to bottle him up, and he had a lot of 1 yard, no yard, 1 yard loss. But eventually it seems like he's always going to break through.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he was negative 5 yards, I think, through his first 4 or 5 carries because, as you said, the Dolphins had an idea what was coming their way. And then ultimately he became inevitable, and they couldn't stop him. And he does remind me of Nick Chubb, and I understand the hesitation because I have it myself of wanting to go there and compare him to Nick. But he's their newer version of a Nick Chubb type of player, a dominant running back that's going to, if you give him the ball 20 times in a game, he's going to approach 100 yards. And if you obviously give him the ball inside the 5-yard line, he's going to punch it in. I thought his best run was the Wildcat direct snap that, I don't know if it was a bad snap or what, but he almost fumbled it away, and he was able to compose himself and bully his way into the end zone for a 3-yard touchdown run. I just thought that was just fantastic because a lot of young players in that situation get caught up in losing the football in their hands when it doesn't get to them clean, and usually that type of a play ends up in a loss and ends up blowing up your goal-to-go offense. Not with Quinshawn. He was very composed, gathered the football, and like I said, was able to bulldoze his way into the end zone. So I'm not going to say he's the next Nick Chubb or he's Nick Chubb 2.0, but boy, it's really, really getting difficult not to start to feel that way.
What did you think of Myles' performance and his comments after the game, and especially his comments on Friday all being added into it?
Well, I like the fact that he talked the talk on Friday. Nobody was spared. Everybody was catching strays, offense, defense, special teams. And he went out there. He helped back it up. I like what he said after the game, and this is my thing. I really didn't have a problem with what he said on Friday. Now, I can certainly understand the Browns organization might not have been crazy about it. Kevin Stefanski, Jim Schwartz, Tommy Rees probably didn't like a word that Myles Garrett had to say, but the truth is the truth. And look, as somebody who wants players to be honest, I certainly am not going to criticize him for being honest with us. Again, just because the organization didn't like what was said, it doesn't mean I can't appreciate it. And I appreciate Myles Garrett's candor. Really, the only thing he's said this season that I disagree with is them losing the same way week in and week out. I don't know that that's necessarily accurate. They lost on field goals in week 1. Defense probably should have gotten off the field in London instead of letting Carson Wentz go 80 yards against them in the closing minute there to win that football game. But the frustration is real, and I certainly respect that. I'll just tell Myles this, though. I respect you putting yourself on the line and your body on the line, but you can't be more frustrated than the paying customers, okay? Browns fans have been through it for the last 26, 27 years, and you can't be more frustrated than those folks. And you're being paid $40 million a year to help end their frustration. So, but yeah, I'm not going to criticize a guy for being honest, and that's basically what he said.
Well, it sounds like you're being critical of him being honest.
No, I'm not. It's just I can disagree with some things that he says when it comes to him being honest, but I'm not going to rip him for speaking his mind. And as he said after the game, I'm always going to do that.
Daryl Ryder, brought to you by Schaub & Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store. Yes, Tone?
All right, Daryl, the rookies. It seemed, we talked about Judkins, but the rookies, nice bounce-back effort after kind of a quiet few weeks for them. What stood out to you?
Well, look, I mean, obviously, Judkins is the headliner. I thought Carson Schlesinger was phenomenal. And I think that guy has the potential to have a pretty sensational career here. And I have been arguing and pounding the table for years for them to find an impact linebacker. And boy, did he have an impact yesterday. He is a ton of fun to watch. And Harold Fannin, a very efficient 4 catches for 35, 36 yards around there. But I think that this rookie class has the potential to be one of the best rookie classes since this franchise came back.
Daryl, you're gonna make me ask him, aren't you? Okay, fine.
I was waiting.
I'm not making anyone do anything.
How do you want me to ask it then, Tone?
I think
would you have thought there's a problem with Shedeur Sanders taking some snaps at the end of the game?
No, the game's out of hand. It's a blowout. No, I don't think that. I don't think there's an issue there. If it's the last drive and you're just running out the clock, no, I don't see what's the issue.
Did you find a benefit to it? Do you think they should have put him in?
I'll be honest with you, Tony. I'm indifferent. I really am. But they could have put him in. I wouldn't have had a problem with it. I don't think it would have caused any type of a controversy or anything like that. And also I understand letting Dylan Gabriel finish out his first NFL victory too. So, I don't think that there's, for me, I understand maybe for you guys it might be, but for me, I don't think that there's much of a controversy or a hot button whether he, got in during garbage time or not. I mean, hey, if you can put the guy in when the game's out of hand and you're on the losing end, I don't see a problem with throwing him out there to run out the clock when you've put the game away.
Well, Daryl. Well.
Oh, is it?
Seems that you and I are on the same side.
You and I are on the same page.
But,
no, I don't think you were. No, not at all. He didn't side with either of us.
Oh,
well, he said he had no problem with him putting him out there.
He also said he had no problem with him leaving him in. So,
well, no, I told you.
He didn't side with you there.
Hold on. Yes, he did.
No, he didn't.
I said
Owen?
I will say we have reached a third different side.
Yeah. Wait a minute. Hold on.
Yeah, he didn't go with you.
It's not a triangle.
Ken demanded that he be placed in there with 5 minutes left?
This is what he does. This is what he does. He's lying to you. That's false. Anybody who's listened to the last 40 minutes knows that that's BS what he just said. I didn't demand anything.
Go back and play the tape. You could hear in the passion, the fiery...
You made me passionate. You made me fiery.
That's as loud as you've gotten all show today was about Shedeur playing. So don't act like you didn't want him in there.
You took me there.
You wanted to see him.
No, I was loudest during Super Bowl Super Browns at the beginning of the show.
You wanted to throw Shedeur's name in all the headlines today so we could get the bump.
They can see you now, so they know you're full of it. And I wasn't just trying to throw his name out there to get a bump. I know
Look
what
at
your
YouTube
games
Live.
are.
Look at the comments right now.
I'm not looking at YouTube Live.
Look at him.
I'm not looking at YouTube Live.
You told me.
You called me out yesterday on Friday. You didn't want me to do it. That's ESPN.com.
It's right there. There's another one.
hell? That's ESPN.com. That's not
Prime
YouTube
time
Live.
6969. He's right there in the comment section.
Daryl, thank you very much for the time.
Yeah, I'm just not in the mood to put you both in a corner.
Oh,
Have
you're going
fun.
to put me in a corner, Daryl. Wait a minute. Come on, tough talking, Daryl. What are you
Both
going
of you
to do?
in timeout. All this yelling and bickering you're doing at each other. Come on.
It's fine.
On a Browns victory Monday of all days.
Yeah, Daryl was upset. No, I'm not upset. I'm not mad at the Browns. Ain't no one mad at the Browns. I'm happy with the Browns right now. They won. Daryl, thank you.
You bet, guys. Have a great week.
Daryl Ryder brought to you by Scheib and Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store. Prime time 69.69 is what you come up with now.
I saw him on there.
He just donated $10 to
You're
YouTube.
not on. I can see it here. You're not on YouTube. You're not on YouTube right now. I see your Twitter is up, and those are highlights of Mac Jones. That YouTube, so
That
that's
was
not
up
even
there.
YouTube.
And then Adam Archuleta's in-laws.
Wait a minute, you're looking at them? Not. Never mind.
In-law monthly.
One win can make a world of difference. It can also make you a little bit delusional. That's in 5 on the Fan. There's no delusions about Daisy Dip. It's too good to pass up. It's too good to not tell you about it. And folks, I'm not delusional. The taste.
behind-the-scenes footage, official contest rules, and everything you need to know about the Cleveland Browns and the local sports scene. 923thefan.com.
Problem. Right here. You guys are the problem. The Browns just won. They dismantled the Miami Dolphins, and you yahoos are on the air talking about Shedeur Sanders, a guy who wasn't even on the field.
Shut
you
up.
guys
Kiss
are the
my
problem
ass.
with
It's a
Cleveland
4-hour
sports.
show. Turn it off.
I agree.
Turn it off.
I agree with them.
I'm the problem.
Look at the distraction Ken has created for the football team.
It's a 4-hour show. You didn't think it was going to nothing's going to get brought up?
Do you want to hear this one from Ken in Streetsboro from last night?
Hey, let's get real defensive over the 100 yards he threw for yesterday, okay?
What do we have from Ken in Streetsboro?
Here you go. Ken in Streetsboro.
Ken on Route 14.
This is last night.
Holy hell, boys. What a day so far. This game is the cat's ass, and brother, we need to get Sanders in the game now. Give the man a few snaps and quit being sensitive. See y'all tomorrow, bright and early. Also, I want to get this off my chest, but I need to admit that the Liz and Snoop Dogg tour bus really does bother me.
Who is doing
These wine
this?
coolers are really getting
Stop it!
Cheers.
What's the matter with wine coolers? I haven't had a wine cooler in years.
Sounded like you had some.
Is there still Bartles and James?
Oh, I'm sure if you look hard enough, you can find some. My grandpa's garage fridge. Sure.
What about the Lynchburg lemonades?
Oh,
well,
those
Lynchburg
are prevalent.
lemonades. Hey, you make that by yourself. That's fine. Bartles and James. What was the other? Remember, my mom had some.
St. Ives.
Oh, God.
St. Ives.
Yeah.
That was malt liquor, though.
Yeah, it was.
No, there was an IVES.
Really? I had St. Ives, brother. I had the malt liquor. There was that. What was the other one? My mom had Bartles and James stuff. Like, she had like a mug. Stuff like that. No. I remember when I was younger, not that I condone such behavior. We don't condone underage drinking around these parts. Remember Smirnoff Ice back in the day?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Now
still
you
have
get
that?
like
Used to have-
Seagram's has some now, and
There was a phase of icing your friends.
of course,
Beg pardon?
Yep.
yeah,
What was that?
You got like a sneak attack,
yeah.
right?
You had to be on a knee.
Yeah, you had to get on your
present
knee.
it.
You what?
Yeah,
Be on a knee?
or you do the old bottle pop on top and make it fizz up.
Oh,
and-
that, well, I
yeah.
know about that. Oh, I didn't
That
know
was
that.
part of it.
All right, fine. We move on. Yeah, no, don't sit there and say it's a 4-hour show just because it happened to be going on while you were going to work. Don't sit there and blame me. And they ain't my fault. Okay, it got brought up. It happened. I'm not the problem. It's not me. I'm not the problem. It's not Tone. He's not the problem. There is no problem. That's the thing. There is no problem.
Well, that's.
But if you think I'm going to sit here and have some vigorous defense,
Well, think about it,
over
though.
just a fair enough game, it was a fine game. It was a fine game. Why am I? See, you guys make me out to be nasty towards Dylan Gabriel, and I don't even want to be nasty towards Dylan Gabriel.
But
See,
that
damn
game,
it, this is my problem. With
that game, think about it.
hiding behind your coming in hotlines.
We had no coaching issues in that game. There was no time management issues. The only question we had at all is why they took the ball first. That was it. But it didn't matter. They won the game.
Damn it! I thought he gave a reason for it. I forgot what that reason was.
Your rookies look great. So what? Who had a bad game? Who had a bad game yesterday for the Browns? Special teams were great.
Bad game?
Yeah. Who had a bad
No,
game?
I don't think anybody
for the
did.
Browns. Did anybody?
I don't think anybody did. No, I think they're all fine.
Blake Whiteheart.
Oh, okay, fine.
But it was a wet ball.
Well, yeah.
It was a wet ball. I mean, hell, you saw Quinshon Judkins.
It's a shame that was his one reception and his one target, too.
Quinshon Judkins there with the Wildcat. He fumbled the ball and
But he
recovered
still
and
scored a touchdown.
So it wasn't a game that we can pick apart anything, and we've lavished praise all over the place where we thought it was due. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and bitch that Jerry Jeudy didn't have 100 yards receiving. Who cares? That would have been a poor game plan if that was the goal.
It's fine. People are giving me Boone's Farm now. I never had Boone's Farm. I don't think I ever had
That was a good
Boone's Farm.
time, yeah, but that wasn't really a wine cooler. That was a wine.
Yeah, that was a fortified wine. Yeah. Like, well, there was a difference between wine coolers and fortified wine.
Wichita Falls, Texas, in the fall of 2000. Owen had a lot.
Mad Dog 2020. I haven't had Mad Dog 2020 in a long time. Mad Dog 2020. Wild Irish Rose. I finally tried Thunderbird thanks to Steve Ralston. That's right. I remember that years ago. I tried Thunderbird. What's the word? Thunderbird. Yeah, there it was. All right. Let me ask you this. Did the win do anything? And I want to ask the people this on the phones. Did the win do anything to change your opinion of Barry and Stefanski? Did it help out? Did it help out at all? I'm just being honest.
Well, the bar,
I want to know.
The bar was not quit on your coach, and they exceeded. They did not quit on their coach.
Well, you see,
you saw another team quit on their coach,
and I wanted to bring up the Myles conversation here and there, and I don't want to give it away because I wanted to bring it up in the 9 o'clock hour. But Myles did. I think Myles, in so many ways. I think he has a lot in common with Browns fans, other than the millions of dollars, all right? Well, who knows? There's probably a real rich Browns fan out there somewhere. Other than the millions of bucks, has a lot in common because he just said some things that were pretty harsh to say on Friday about the Browns, and you guys have said some things that are pretty harsh to say about the Browns, and neither of you are going anywhere. Neither of you can get a transfer. Neither of you are moving out of the area. He's here for the rest of that contract. There is one diabolical trade, though. There is one diabolical trade that you can make. I don't know why anybody would do it, but actually, I did find, well, I should say, a producer found it for me. There is one trade that you can make, which, by the way, there will be a diabolical question if people can't get their acts in order during coming in hot, the actual coming in hot, at 9:45 on Friday. And so just going to what Myles did, there are a lot of people doing body language interpretations of Myles right now because they want to see.
Even in the victory celebration and the
even
shout-outs in the locker room, Stefanski.
Well, listen, man, this is part of it. You can be as mad as you want to about Stefanski. I'm talking about him. He can be as mad as he wants to about Stefanski. He can be mad as he wants to about Barry. The articles are out there. You did play a role in this. It turned into basically he or me when it came to Baker. You did play a role in this. Now, I don't think very many people, other than the most ardent Baker Mayfield supporters, which, by the way, he plays Monday Night Football tonight, the most ardent Baker Mayfield supporters thought that he was going to go be an all-pro candidate at some point. But when you have that with Myles, and your team is a 2-5 football team, which still would be bottom third of the league, if your team's that way, I think there are a lot of people who go, well, you helped create this. Now, I know the Browns are supposed to be the ones that, hey, they could have blinked and decided to do whatever they wanted to. Myles is part of it then. But Myles also says what I think a lot of people want to say about the Cleveland Browns, except he happens to play for the Cleveland Browns. So there's a weird relationship with Myles. It's a very weird one because he can say now, because, again, it's an unmovable contract. He's not going anywhere until he's retired. He could say whatever he wants to at any time about anybody, if he really wants to. And I thought in his comments on Friday, he was being as careful as he could to not really put it on players. I think he kind of went more towards coaching, front office, things like that, philosophy. I thought he went more towards things like that. Now, when he was asked about that yesterday in the postgame, it's easy to say, hey, I'm going to give you exactly what it is. When you just won 35-6, you made another team look terrible while you did it. They looked really good against a terrible football team, but they looked really good. But did yesterday, you heard what Myles said on Friday. I mean, it was must listen to. Did yesterday do anything to change your opinion of Andrew Berry and or Kevin Stefanski?
There's one thing that might have made Andrew Berry look bad yesterday.
It's coming up in 5 minutes on The Fan. Ken Carman here for Classic Chevy.
You can find The Fan on YouTube now. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and get the best content from our shows each and every weekday. That's 92.3 The Fan on YouTube. Headline Sports News continues every 20 minutes on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Mackenzie Flume.
All day long.
All day.
All the time.
At work.
923thefan.com and the Odyssey app.
Check it out.
Contest time.
Enter the code word if you want to go to the home opener against the Milwaukee Bucks this Sunday. We already have basketball this week, October 26th at 6 p.m. Enter the code word CITY at 923thefan.com before 10 a.m. Your chance to win a pair of tickets to Cavaliers home opener against the Milwaukee Bucks. That's at Rocket Arena. Tickets available at Cavs.com. That's CITY at 923thefan.com. All from the Cavaliers and Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
Hell yeah! By the way, I wanted to throw out the... I'm going to get you the update here for a second about the Mac Jones thing, but that's inconsequential to everything here. Your one thing about Andrew Berry that you said, because I asked, did yesterday do anything to change your opinion of Berry and Stefanski? Or Berry and or Stefanski? I don't know why I sound like this. Berry and or... Andrew Berry and or Kevin Stefanski. Did it do anything to change your opinion? Yours personally.
Yeah,
did it do anything?
No. It was nice to see the rookies play better than they had the last few weeks.
All right.
But
I'll answer mine, but you had a point to make.
There was one thing. There's only one thing that potentially made Andrew Berry look bad yesterday. By the way, we didn't even really talk about Tyson Campbell all that much.
Yeah.
Another Andrew Berry laser eyes move.
Laser eyes, brother, yeah.
Looks like it, because Newsome was playing well. He's playing well. I mean, this looks like a good trade. One name, though.
Okay.
And that's Jackson Dart. So I'm not, this show did not like Jackson Dart. We didn't want anything to do with Jackson Dart.
Well, it was just the recklessness of his play when he was at Ole Miss. And, the Florida, we made a big deal about the Florida game, which, by the way, I think some people are going to be making a big deal about the Louisville game when it comes to Carson Beck. Good God
it was
almighty.
bad.
Did you see, anybody else see Friday night? Did you see that? Holy
terrible loss.
Cat food. Go ahead.
But, Dart led a pretty good performance. Then he had, a nice drive, also flag assisted to put the Giants ahead again in a seesaw battle. It was an awesome game. They ended up losing. Bo Nix. Did Denver score 33 in the fourth quarter?
Yes.
It's ridiculous. But Dart, again, just had some signature moments. Also, I even tweeted it out. The Moxie police. They're all over him and his emotion on the sidelines. It's very Baker Mayfield. Some people love it. Some people hate it. It's that whole thing. When
you're
win,
winning and you're playing well, people love it.
I know, but then they end up losing. It wasn't his fault.
Okay, but he threw for 3 touchdowns and 280, didn't he?
Yeah,
he had a good night.
He did have a horrific interception that let Denver get back into the game.
You're going to have that with young guys. You're going to have that with a guy like him. He'll get locked in on people. That's what happens.
And his numbers were so in terms of 15 to 33, but he did make some amazing plays in that game. And the only reason I say it is, in as much as this show, we were not in on the Jackson Dart experience. He's definitely looked like a first-round quarterback, like a guy that belonged in a potential franchise quarterback, and he was taken number 25 overall, so they had the ammo to get him. And that is just the one thing that could make Andrew Berry, who's had it by all accounts.
Well,
he had a great draft. But if you didn't get the quarterback, you can have all these great drafts you want, but if you don't land the quarterback, it all is literally meaningless. I mean, I hate to say it.
You're going to need to see Jackson Dart do a lot more.
Yes.
And you're going to have to see that for the entire year, because the goal for a Jackson Dart is to have a bunch of people bitching that they passed on, that why did our team pass on you and the Giants got you. That's part of it. I thought yesterday was a fun game watching those two teams play.
Scadaboo was fun too.
Yes. But, when you point out Jackson Dart, I don't think it's a talking point yet. I think it will be at some point, because I look at a Jackson Dart like, you know what? They're there. You got to go find them. You're going to have to ask more of your scouting department, because I don't know. We'll see what Shedeur does when he gets a chance. People have turned the Dylan Gabriel conversation. This is what sucks. You can say whatever you want to about Shedeur. This is what sucks with both quarterbacks, Dylan and him, is that it just turns into a knockdown drag out, and then it just gets bastardized into this thing you didn't even say. For Dillon Gabriel, guys, it's not a bad thing to say that he's going to be a career backup that will draw a pension in this league. He's just not what you need as a franchise quarterback. And if he was, they wouldn't have taken him in the third round. He would have been taken much sooner. So I can't hear any of that. We'll find out about Shedeur. Everybody knows. I've made it abundantly clear. I do think when it comes to ceiling, if we're just going to let it ride with either one of these guys, I think Shedeur has a higher ceiling. We'll find out if that's the case, and if not, we'll just go looking for those other guys. What Jackson Dart points out to you is that it's a bigger crapshoot than it's ever been for franchise QBs or for guys that we think are franchise QBs. You got to go find one, and it doesn't matter where you're drafting. So if they go out and they win 5 games this year, and they're still not at the very tippy top of the draft, or they go out there and they win only one more game this year, and they're near the tippy top of the draft, probably the Dolphins are going to finish with like 1 or 2 wins. Or the Jets, certainly. Then, you know what? It's up to you and your scouting department to figure it out.
I mean, look at.
Or if you really, really want to, because I don't think, again, I won't fight a Browns fan for saying this. If you think you got time, go ahead and wait on the kid down in Columbus. Boy, he looks pretty damn good right now.
He's looked awesome. Look at the 2024 draft now. Caleb Williams 1, Jane Daniels 2, Drake May 3, Penix 8. We don't know about J.J. McCarthy, who went 10th, but then Bo Nix went 12. Even hell, I got to say, Spencer Rattler has had moments.
Well, guys, it's simple, though. I'll tell you this. I know you brought up the quarterbacks. I don't think I need any more evidence. The evidence is there. Now they're in job preservation mode or save mode. You win more games. How are you going to win games? The guys on the team are going to have to play better. So Kevin will have to have got them in the right position to win more games. If they were a 3-win football team last year, if they end up winning 6 or 7 games, which I don't think is a very likely outcome right now, but if they win 6 or 7 games, yeah, I think in so many ways they could end up being safe. And that might bother a lot of people. But I'm looking for where the positives could be. If you win 6 or 7 games, your rookies will have had to play well. Okay, that's still going to be a feather in the cap of Andrew Berry. If you win 6 or 7 games, some of the second-year guys are going to have to play well. Some of the third-year guys are going to have to play well and come back. It can't all just be on the offensive line. So they're not out of the woods by any means. So what my issue is, I can't turn this into a giant pendulum every week. If they go out there and I can't say things that I have to immediately regret if they go out there and they get hammered by the Patriots on Sunday. So that ain't going to happen. Because I'm happy that they won. I think everybody is. Does anybody trust them? No. And really, they don't deserve that trust right now. For a Browns fan out there, you should be happy that your favorite team won. I'm happy. You can be any way you want. I'm just saying myself as a Browns fan, I'm happy my favorite team won. I'm still skeptical of all this. I'm still waiting for things to really come unhinged. And they could have gone unhinged yesterday. You made it a point to not let it get that way. So, yeah, you can still beat up and beat down teams that are just a mess. Because you have been used as a team that messy teams gets right against themselves. Like last year with Philadelphia, I don't think anybody was going to pick them to go all the way to the Super Bowl after that, but you were the get-right game. Point blank, they were ready to fire Nick Sirianni if they lost to you. They beat you, and
the Browns' defense is anchored by Myles Garrett, and they've got other great players on that defense. They're just too good. They're too good to be a 2-win football team. That's why even as down as everybody was last week, I did say they're going to still win 4 or 5, and people are like, where do you see more wins on the schedule? I'm like, guys, their defense is they're gonna swallow up teams that have bad quarterback play, teams that have coaches that they've lost the locker room or there's mutiny, and that's what you saw yesterday. I mean, the penalties and all of that. You were finally, for once, we were the beneficiary of the officials and the other team's meltdown and quitters. Like that was glorious. Normally it's been Browns teams over the years that we've seen that.
I frankly, and I'll leave my point of it here because I want to try to fit some people in. I don't have much confidence. I don't have much trust. And one win over the win over the Dolphins, it would be much better if I had any confidence or trust in Mike McDaniel or anything they do down there. I don't. They're a mess. And they proved it yesterday. They quit on their coach. They quit on their quarterback big time. It was a total disaster on their part, and I was glad to take advantage of it. That said, I still don't trust you. I still am afraid that things will not go well. I am still afraid that you will do things that tell me you might be in a desperate situation. I'm afraid that people may step in to do things that I wouldn't trust them to do, that they haven't been doing this entire time. I'm afraid that you'll be like, I don't think you can come up with another scenario that trades away Joe Flacco, forces guys into play to stay in play that you might not trust, and then forces other guys you might not trust to bump up that depth chart. That's a pretty strong thing to happen, and only probably would happen once in a while. But the only thing that's going to make me trust you is by stacking wins, and stacking wins even against quality opponents. I'm happy about every win. Next week's going to be a different story. I have a lot of trust in Mike Vrabel. I have a lot, almost on Mike McCarthy. I have a lot of trust in Mike Vrabel. I have a lot of trust. I think that Drake May can be a good football player. I think they've done well this year. I think they've done well with their free agents even. That's going to be a hell of a test. You're a 7-point underdog. You go out there and win? Hey, we got 2 weeks in the bye week. Let's talk. But no, I'm not going to be so Jekyll and Hyde, so bipolar talking to you guys and say everything's fixed over a win over the Dolphins. 216-474-0092. Did the win do anything to change your opinion of Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski? I want to get to you guys on that. And do you root for a team just because it's your old friends? Ken Carman, Anthony Lima. Take us, and I ain't talking about you-know-who down in Florida. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima. Take us with you to work on the free Odyssey app.
play the Dodgers. It's going to be a winner-takes-all tonight in Toronto. George Kirby and Shane Bieber duel on the mound for the 8:08 first pitch. Listen to The Fan to Rewind weeknights 11 p.m. to midnight. All of the best segments from all of our shows. You can always listen on the Odyssey app. Headline Sports News continues every 20 minutes on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Mackenzie Flume.
We still got to go Surfside with the Cavs. Let's Surfside it up real quick.
Well, we played that Darius Garland audio.
Play it again. I don't care.
Earlier today.
Play that audio.
And this was from the Sirius. It was Sam Mitchell doing the interview, I believe.
It's a 4-hour show.
But Sirius NBA Radio. This was Darius Garland. And listen to the question and how he responds.
How far could y'all have went if you were healthy?
I think we would have won it. I'll say that pretty confidently. I think we would have won it. It's just the talent of this group is just out the roof. The will that we have on both sides of the ball, defensive side. We got 2 of the defensive player of the year, and I'll say the second best defensive big since we got the defensive player of the year already. So we had with Evan and Jay down there blocking shots, protecting the paint. I think that was going to really help us on that side of the ball. And then Evan growing, Donovan being Donovan, of course. Dre was coming along, Max Strus was coming along. I felt I was pretty good in the first round. So, yeah, I'll say that confidently. I think that we would have.
So, audio courtesy of Sirius. Listen, it's good to have confidence, right? It's always good to have confidence. But I think he's coming off a little delusional as to what it takes to win 4 rounds in the playoffs. Like, they would not have beaten Oklahoma City, right? Like, the Cavs were amazing last year. I think they would have gotten smoked by Oklahoma City.
I think you're being totally unfair. I think you're being totally unfair.
They played him twice, right? They smoked him once.
I think your disappointment in last year has seeped in. I don't think that. Listen, Darius Garland. I think you're right about what you say about Donovan Mitchell. I think he's paid a hefty price to be on a contending basketball team. I think he knows that you need to dig deeper, and I think at times that Donovan Mitchell has been frustrated.
And Donovan's been on fumes after 2 rounds. How are they going 2 more rounds and then winning it all?
Is Darius supposed to say that, no, there's no chance we would have done anything without me there, or we wouldn't have had a chance anyway, even if I was there? Like, what's that mean then? Does that mean that you're a problem? Does that mean that your teammates are a problem? I think what he does is he gives... I don't think any of them take it to heart, but if they do, I think he gives them an out. I think he gives everybody an out. Yeah, if we would have had Darius, we would have done this, that, or the other. Whether or not you believe that, like, I don't believe that. I think they probably would have lost Oklahoma City anyway, but it would have helped had they had Darius Garland. I don't know if they would have got past Indiana, but I don't think he's being unrealistic about the price you have to pay to be a champion in the NBA. I don't think he's doing that.
Would they have beaten the Knicks? Would anybody have thought they would have beaten the Knicks last year in the Eastern Conference Finals? Because remember, we thought it was going to be Boston, and obviously that didn't happen because of the injury.
I remember thinking that they would have a chance better to do that. I remember thinking, but that was a while ago. But I really do think, because I got to go back to the match, because you pay attention to the Cavs, you pay a little bit of attention to the Knicks. I want to say I thought that they could beat the Knicks.
I just think every postseason we have brought up the same talking points about the toughness. Even Zach Lowe, who loves the Cavs, loves Kenny Atkinson, loves Donovan Mitchell, loves Darius Garland, but he says the same thing every time he talks about the Cavs. Like, nobody's afraid of them.
Well, that's true. They got to get past that. That part is true.
So how do we go from nobody's afraid of them, and I know we got to move on and get back to the Browns, Victory Monday and all that.
I know.
But how do we go from nobody's afraid of them to... Yeah, we would have won the championship last year if healthy.
But I think that's a tough talk that they have.
Too big of a chasm between those two things.
I understand that, but I think that is how they are perceived by some teams, and they need to change that. But I think Darius is going to be a confident man and think that he is that big a part of the franchise, and that if they don't have him, they're not going to have a chance to do what they need to do. Because the pressure is on them now. The time is running out for them to do what they need to do. And what they need to do is win a championship. Well, this beginning of this is going to be very difficult because I've said it before and I say it again. Their best chance will be when Evan Mobley takes that next leap. And I think this is the year we find out whether or not he does or not. And that is the Surfside Cavs update brought to you by the fine folks over at Surfside. Fantastic stuff as always. So I thought about this. 216-474-0092. Did the win make you change your opinion, good, bad, even, of Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Barry? I think small yes, because the locker room, You could have went out there. Like, do we have the Florio clip from NBC Sports? It could have. Yesterday had the chance to be the worst football game ever played. And I know the Browns have arguably played in a couple of worst football games ever played. Yesterday had what it took to be one of the worst football games ever played, because you had, going into that game, you had the trade, then you had what Joe Flacco did, them having to talk to everybody on Friday about the Joe Flacco stuff, fans getting mad, people getting mad at Kevin Stefanski for the non-answer he gave where he said, I go to bed. And people were like, "What, you went to bed? You're getting ready for it?" Like, people were upset about that. There was no good answer. Then Myles spoke on Friday. Myles was not complimentary of anything. And you had every reason to go out there and lay down against a team that was also laying down. It could have been one of the worst games ever, because this is the conversation with Mike Florio, NBC Sports, this morning. Go ahead.
Well, I'm told that the plan from owner Stephen Ross was to give both Mike McDaniel and the general manager Chris Greer all of the season to see where things went. Now they're 1-6. They lose to the previously 1-5 Browns in blowout fashion. That timetable could change, and it could change quickly. Stephen Ross has owned the team since 2009. He's fired 4 coaches, 2 of them during the season. After the game, Mike McDaniel said he refuses to think about his job, but it's something that everyone is going to be thinking about, especially into tomorrow. One last note, whoever the coach is next year, Tua Tagovailoa has $54 million fully guaranteed, so that's going to have to be dealt with.
So the conversation there, the reason why we do that, and that was Football Night in America, if I'm not mistaken, last night on NBC Sports. But this is the big talking point here, where Mike McDaniel doesn't know if he's going to survive the day down in Miami. I cannot tell you, Saturday to Sunday, even Friday when I was out and about doing Friday Night Touchdown, from Friday to Saturday to Sunday morning, how many people asked me, if they lose to the Dolphins, what happens? And I said, honestly, I got nobody telling me anything. Nobody. But you got a sense, especially with what happened on Thursday, if they were, and then Friday when Myles spoke, I thought there was a chance where, hey, we might have to, you and I might have to come back in the afternoon or be on the phone with Afternoon Drive in the afternoon today. I thought that there was a possibility that could happen if they went over and they just looked that bad at home against the Dolphins and they would have lost. Like, that had every making. And it's not a huge feather in the cap. Like, we are not the Super Bowl champions of Week 6 against the Miami Dolphins. But it could have been so much worse. It could have been that. Like, I don't know how they kept it together, because they've quit on Tua Tagovailoa and they've quit on Mike McDaniel down in Miami. So, yeah, this could be so much worse than what it is. And I think a lot of people might have been expecting it. I think a lot of people might have been ready to talk about it. And I had to get 2 versions of it ready. Because you got that feeling as the week went on yesterday that, man, if they lose this game, this is a bad team with a lot of dissension and a lot of turmoil. We started last week talking about them having the turmoil, and all of a sudden after Thursday night, it was all hands on deck. We have serious problems here, and we were hitting DEFCONs. And I thought if they would have lost yesterday, and if they would have played poorly while losing yesterday, I thought that we could be talking something different today. Yeah, I really did.
Well, it would have been a disastrous turn of events because of what happened, in London, to last week in Pittsburgh, where it was just a disgraceful performance all the way around. And then, obviously, that Dolphins team, everybody's seen how bad they are and how they are coming apart at the seams. But you know what? The Browns, they did what they were supposed to do. Finally, they were able to do that. And so they absolutely get credit for it. We're not going to act like we won the Super Bowl, and we didn't today, outside of our typical start to a show on a Victory Monday. But look, the beauty of the NFL, the beauty of football is that you just have to be better than one team. It wasn't relevant how bad, or how good 28 other teams, 29 other teams. What just mattered yesterday was that you were better than that one team, and they were decisively better than that team.
216-474-0092. Let me get to Larry in Cleveland real quick. Hello, Larry. Hi, Larry.
Hey, hey, I like you guys. I love your show. But can I just say something? And I'm going to shut up. Hey, you guys are like y'all beat world beaters. Miami, that didn't impress me at all because you beat them. Who
acted like we were world beaters?
Hold on. Can I finish talking, please?
Well, you said something
inaccurate. Well, you got to start making sense. You already said something that was inaccurate, Larry.
No, this is what I'm saying. You should have beat Miami.
Okay.
They're a dumpster fire.
Yes.
And you guys haven't done nothing. You're going to lose to New England next week. Kevin need to go. That was not impressive to me at all. Myles Garrett talking all this mess. hey, you should have traded him. Okay, because against good teams, he don't show up. But you guys act like...
That was nicely produced. I have some breaking news here for everybody. We don't need to hit the thing. I wondered if we did. Before I get to more of the calls here, Sunday's game at New England. It's going to be broadcast
on Fox. On
the call, ladies and gentlemen, Jen Hale on sideline, Chris Myers on the play-by-play.
Oh, my.
As your analyst in this game, Mark Schlereth.
Stink!
Mark Schlereth gets the Jerry Jeudy game.
Okay. Because I always wondered what would it have been like had Schlereth done the Jeudy game against Denver last year. That would have been interesting because he has done nothing but talk you-know-what about Jeudy. And then Jeudy had that amazing performance, the performance of the year by a wide receiver last year. Was that very game, even though it was a losing effort. Jerry Jeudy's been very quiet this year. Mm-hmm. He's had the drops. He's not been productive, but just hasn't been him. It's been the passing game in general. Is there a chance that now, because of that, Jeudy might have his coming out party? Should they bring that up? Should Kevin Stefanski mention that to Jeudy, that Schlereth is doing the game? Is that bulletin board material ammo?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I think we need to just make sure everybody's on the same page.
You don't think that's a good challenge?
No.
Really?
No. I don't need Mark Schlereth in his head. That got weird last year. Let's call it what
it did. But professional athletes, it takes bizarre things sometimes to motivate them. We always talk about even the best teams, like nobody believed in us. It's like you guys were the Super Bowl favorites. So that does happen. So maybe, wouldn't that be something? You want to issue a challenge to Jerry Jeudy? Unless you don't think it's possible. Unless you don't think that he's capable of having...
He's capable of having a good game. I don't need Mark Schlereth to be the guy who gets him motivated.
Okay.
There were 2 catches for 17 yards yesterday. Their offense still has some problems to work out. It was a rainy day yesterday. It probably won't be the same way in New England on Sunday. Let Jerry Jeudy focus on his own things. We don't need him to worry about guys in the booth. Okay? Wade in Cleveland. Hello.
Hey, what's going on, Ken?
Hi, Wade.
Yeah. First off, I don't think the locker room's been saved. And I want to say I think we might have found something with Q on the goal line with the Wildcat. I like that. Okay, and I feel like we
give
should
Stefanski some credit. They installed it this week.
Look at you, Wade. Look at you giving Stefanski all this credit. That's all right. All right, continue.
I mean, yeah, it looked good yesterday. You know what I'm saying? I mean, for some reason, I think that's something that we need, to continue on doing. But anyway, like I say, I feel like we should have scored at least 40 or 45 points, maybe even 50. All the good field position we had yesterday as far as Dylan Gabriel, let's keep it real. I heard the one caller saying he doesn't turn the ball over. He should have at least 3 interceptions already. His pro resume, should be,
hold on. He has got a little bit lucky. He has gotten a little bit lucky with the turnovers. You're right about that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And like I said, if it weren't for the corners, the safeties dropping the ball, we knew he could have had more. And like I say, I'd like to see a more mobile quarterback who can get us 3 or 4 yards when we desperately need it. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think Dylan Gabriel, qualify for that. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think that, again, what we are watching, and thank you very much for the call, Wade, I think we're watching a guy who's going to be hopefully a long-term backup in the league. That's what we're seeing. But I thought overall yesterday he was just right. If you're a contending football team, if you did have a franchise quarterback, I don't think Dylan is a franchise quarterback. If you did have a franchise quarterback, you would be happy that was the type of performance that a backup came in and did. But unfortunately, I can only be honest with you guys. I think we'll reach a point where the other shoe drops. The picks that should be thrown end up being actual picks, and then we'll have conversations about somebody else. But as of right now, I'm not going to take a job away from the guy for winning a football game because that's what a backup quarterback's supposed to do. And as far as we know, I can only go by what we're told. Shedeur is not ready to go yet. 216-474-0092. Yes.
Jerry Jeudy in that game last year, 235 yards against Denver. Right now, he is on pace for 624 yards this season. He plays in all 17.
Okay. What's that got to do with Mark Schlereth?
It's got everything to do with Mark Schlereth.
What has it got to do with Mark Schlereth?
That Jerry Jeudy is having an abysmal year, and is there one way to get him motivated to have a big game on Sunday?
Telling him that Mark Schlereth is on the call is not. You're smiling at Owen. So are you being honest or are you not?
I'm wondering what you can, because clearly whatever they've tried to do this year to get Jeudy in the right headspace has not worked. And now you've got a game where if he has a great game on Sunday, Mark Schlereth has to say nice things about Jerry Jeudy. He's got no choice.
All right. Coming up next, I gotta hate you with this. All right, we'll discuss it throughout the week. Also, coming up next, there is a camaraderie when you attend a football game like that. Did you do it just for the story? King Carman, Anthony Lima, take us with you to work on the free Odyssey app. Window Nation, put them in your home.
done. He's a pride of Bedford High School and the Buckeyes. Tyvis Powell talks Browns football every Monday afternoon at 1:20 with Baskin and Phelps on Cleveland's Sports Radio, 92.3 The Fan.
I'm not bringing that to the show. Hey, if you want to bring this show, fine.
What were you just talking to Mitch about?
Following you on social media, because then he would have known of the stuff that you had tweeted about instead of bringing it up like it was his own idea earlier.
Which was?
Which one was it? I forget.
It was about the sunglasses.
Oh, yeah. Mike McDaniel. No, he looked up. That's right. It wasn't his idea, but he looked up the brand of sunglasses that Mike McDaniel wears on the sidelines, and Lima's like, yeah, I tweeted that yesterday, but you don't follow.
Yeah, the producer doesn't follow one of the hosts.
That's okay.
So he wears...
He waited till I followed him. So I broke first.
Wait, he wasn't following you either?
No, God, no. You think? No.
Interesting.
It's okay. According to Ian Rappaport, folks, the loser leaves town match, you're not leaving town.
I can't believe that.
Well, technically he did leave town because he did go back to Miami. But okay, Mike McDaniel's not getting fired yet. According to Ian Rappaport, they said no changes are expected with the Dolphins right now. So while there was some speculation, Ian Rappaport poured cold water on it, said no, there's going to be no changes. Speaking of the game, I'll bring that up here in a second.
My God, they play 2 more games in the next 10 days.
Yeah, they do. Might find out in 10 days.
Because they're at Atlanta, and then they've got the prime video game against the Ravens.
I don't want Mike McDaniel to get fired. I don't like it when coaches get fired. Let me tell you this though: if you're going to get fired, and he's going to get fired, I wanted to be the team that got it. That got it done. I did want to be the team that got it done.
So they're waiting for that.
He's going to get canned.
They're going to wait for that Ravens game because they play twice in a week, and they don't like if you fire them and then you get embarrassed the next 2 games too. But obviously,
what's it matter if you get embarrassed the next 2 games as well?
Well, people always say, and they were saying it about Stefanski, what's the point of firing a coach now? I do hear that all the time. But in our case, like the players haven't given up, right? So this is going to buy Stefanski, it's going to give him more leeway. They've given up. They've already quit.
It's just your personal thought on whether or not, like, first off, when you fire a head coach in season, it really can't get much worse. So if you were to fire a coach mid-season, it's bad. It's as bad as it's going to be. The interim, though, doesn't give you any excitement whatsoever.
No.
If the Browns were to go to do it, and they're not going to do it because they just won. So they're not going to do it. For the Dolphins, I don't necessarily know right off the top of my head, and I should know, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I just kind of, if he's going to get let go anyway, and he's going to be taken care of monetarily, I'm sure. If it's going to happen, I wish it would have been against us. That's all. 216-474-0092. Do you think that the game itself is we brought this up right at the beginning of the show. Is this a game you brag about going to years from now? When they're in the dome and you say you went to the Dolphins game when the Browns and Dolphins were 1-5 and that it was wet and rainy outside and you braved the elements, you wanted to go do it. AFC North football, quote unquote, AFC North football. You saw them before they moved to the dome. Is that one of those games?
You know what? We gave a lot of credit to the fans because I'm like, those are the true Browns fans. Those are the hardcore Browns fans.
Do you find yourself in a different class of Browns fans?
Yeah, I think you do. I just don't know bragging rights. I don't know how memorable the game was because there were no incidents and the weather was not as bad as it could have been. Like, remember, we were
still pretty bad.
It was bad. And the problem is, though, on TV, it didn't look that bad. On TV, you couldn't even really see the rain.
The Saints game didn't look that bad on TV, but boy, it was bad.
Well, I don't know about that because you could see the guys, how bundled up they were and how they made that
not David and Joker.
Yeah, because they even brought it up in the booth. It wasn't as cold as they thought it was going to be. It was just not great. When Delpit punched out the football on the kick return and they zoomed in on it, then you could see, oh, it's raining. And it was raining pretty hard in the first half. The second half, though, was...
And it wasn't as windy in the second half. Like, the field goals, it didn't impact the kicking game all that much. So, I don't know how memorable yesterday is going to be. But
you did have one ding on the upright, but it got They changed it because the penalty that happened.
Yeah.
So they got another crack at it.
But
eventually,
as far as the fans that went, like that to me is a good barometer of when we get into these, who are the true fans and who aren't. Like if you went to that game yesterday, you were going to see what you thought going into it was probably going to be really bad football, really bad quarterback play, and two coaches that were on the hot seat.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what was the point of going to that game?
The secondary market, right? The ticket prices go down into the 20s and 30s because of two bad teams.
Yes.
But they plummet into single digits when it's bad weather as well.
Yes.
You're not going to have that anymore. You'll get two bad teams again, probably.
Well, that's like that, but that makes it part of the fun. Like I think you talk yourself into that.
There were guys out there, shirts off. They were showing them on camera yesterday. I'm sure they will remember that experience forever.
It makes it part of the experience to be able to tell the story about it later on in life. Because one day when they do go into the dome, it's going to be like, hey, come on in. The weather's lousy outside. Hang your coat up. Let it dry. I don't know if they'll have hangers in there, but you get what I'm saying. Dry yourself out and enjoy the 70 degrees inside this building or 72 degrees inside this building. It would be perfectly fine. The only thing I could think of is it might be a little hot in the building because this is the time of year it's like not that hot outside and not that cold outside, and you go into some places and the heat is on and it's sweltering. Got that yesterday when I went to the high school for my son's football award ceremony. It was a very, very, very sweaty afternoon all of a sudden. Jim in Strongsville. Jim, hello.
Hey, guys. No, I'm not going to fondly look back at that yesterday. Look, I looked around the stadium and I was embarrassed that it was like a quarter of the way filled. I have 4 tickets. I couldn't give away or pay people.
Well, if you're so embarrassed to go, then why'd you go?
Because I go every game, Ken, because I like to drink. And I drink before the game, and then I drink right up until halftime.
You can drink at home.
You can drink on the way home.
Yeah, but I hope he doesn't. But you can drink. I would hope drinking on the way home is not the same. I hope you wouldn't do such a thing.
Not open container, no, Ken. I'm a responsible adult.
Are you?
Let's get a limo bus.
I wouldn't call you responsible.
So wait, was it really a quarter? You said you casually threw out a quarter. It was only a quarter?
Dude, 1 quarter easily. I mean, dude, the worst was right before kickoff. A lot of people were inside,
15,
and at that point, it looked like a 10. I'd probably put the number more at like 20,000, 25,000. It was a ghost town. It was empty. It was sad. You could pull right up and park. I mean, it's just embarrassing. I'm sorry. Like I go for the experience of going and tailgating. That experience kind of sucked yesterday. I mean, it was just. I mean, don't get me wrong. I still had a good time.
Did you just bitch the whole time while you were there, Jim, or how'd that go? Like, my God. Like, you could have just clocked in and went to work and got some overtime if it was going to be that bad for you. Like, you got to go to a game. You went to a game, they won. How many people get to say that anymore, that you went to a game that they won?
Guy cut me off on the road. I was mad at him, and then got my schedule for the week. I didn't like my boss.
Like I mean, you could say the Browns are still lousy if you want to. They're 2-5. So I'm not ripping you if you're ripping the team and saying, this doesn't make that big of a difference.
Then I had to listen to the morning show, and then they were excited because they won, and they were talking about the team and the players.
Probably wasn't a fun tailgate because no one wanted to be around you because it was already miserable weather out there. And you just bitching their ear off the whole time you were out there.
Now I have to watch Shane Bieber tonight. Game 7 to go to the World Series.
Do that. Well, yeah, you want to bring that up, didn't you? He got it in there.
I do wonder. The Guardians.
You root for against the Blue Jays because of our old friends.
Like, if he dazzles tonight and is the reason that they go to the World Series, is this going to be a bad night for Guardians?
If Josh Naylor hits 2 home runs and he's the reason they go to the World Series.
Always take life as a risk.
What about Ernie Clement?
I got nothing for that guy.
Thank you.
Whatever. Who thought anything about him?
Sure that
Go Browns! Have a great day!
Super Bowl! Sounds good.
Raise your eyes now.
Yeah.
Cool, I got on the last show.
Loser town, loser fans, and you guys are a loser show.
This is Boomer Esiason with an Odyssey Sports Minute. 5-1 Tampa Bay visits 4-2 Detroit in the opener of tonight's NFL doubleheader. What a game this promises to be. Baker Mayfield may be without 1 or 2 of his top wideouts. However, the Lions' weak spot is their banged-up secondary. Coming off their loss at Kansas City, Detroit will make this a track meet, and I believe they'll win 34-27. Enjoy the game. I'm Boomer Esiason.
I've always wanted to learn French, but the app I tried didn't help.
If you want to memorize words in another language, there's an app for that.